sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports is on the air. From Ebbets Field, here in Brooklyn, Gillette presents the World Series. Good afternoon, baseball fans everywhere. This is Red Barber with Mel Allen, greeting you for the Gillette Safety Razor Company as the New York Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers get ready for their third game in this 1949 Championship Classic. Fans for the tops in sports, tune in Gillette's Cavalcade of Sports the year round. Every Friday night, Gillette broadcasts the major boxing bout of the week for the Fistic Fancy Coast to Coast. Also, as they occur, leading events of turf, diamond, and gridiron are aired for Gillette fans everywhere. The weatherman has given us a forecast of cloudy weather and no rain, and he's been exactly correct. It is overcast and cloudy as the series switches over here to the heart of Flatbush, but the prediction is still no rain. The air is heavy. There is a strong wind coming in from right field, which is the short sector, which means that left-hand pull hitters will be at a disadvantage. The wind is blowing, quartering toward the left field stands, so the right-hand batters who hit a high, long drive figure to have an advantage on the wind. Ralph Branca is to be the starting pitcher for the Dodgers. He's busily warming up with that familiar number 13 on the back of his home white uniform. And Tommy Byrne, the strong-armed, stout-hearted left-hander, is getting ready for the Yankees. The first two games have had unprecedentedly efficient pitching. You all know that. They've all been 1-0 ball games. And we've only had a one-inning relief job. In other words, out of 4 starters, 3 of them were complete. The other one went 8 innings. Only an aggregate of 2 runs. The Brooklyn pitchers have given up no bases on balls in the 2 games. So the headline has been pitching. First, it was Allie Reynolds on the strength of Tommy Henrich's 9th-inning home run, winning the first game and beating Don Newcomb for Brooklyn. Yesterday, it was Preacher Rowe, who made a second-inning 1-run stand-up and beat Vic Raschi, and Joe Page pitched the final inning of relief for the only relief assignment. So pitching is the story. However, neither one of these 2 pitchers today is rated primarily as a control pitcher. Both walk a great many men. Branca for Brooklyn, a right-hander, and Byrne, a left-hander for New York. In the regular season, Tommy Byrne won 15 and lost 7. Wildness was the thing that plagued him more than opposing hitters. He is a hard-ball, fast-ball pitcher with a solid curve, and he changes once in a while. Branca won 13, the number that matches his numeral that he wears, lost 5, and Ralph had sort of an in-and-out season. First he had arm trouble, and then he was wild, too, and threw a lot of home run balls. So the expectancy is that we'll have scoring today and certainly bases on balls. The umpires are coming onto the scene right now. There's a little meeting there in the Brooklyn bench. Some of the umpires visiting with manager Bert Schotten, and they're sort of grinning. Apparently there's some little joke between them. The crowd is all here. We checked with business manager Jack Collins of the Dodgers, and we can tell you right now the attendance will be between around 34,000 for this reason. There are about 32,000 reserved seats, and that 32,000, not 32,000 reserved seats, 32,000 seats. Now, of course, that includes the bleachers. The bleachers were closed off at 10 minutes of 11 this morning, about 2 hours ago. And there will be 2,500 standing room seats sold. That's all, the standing room tickets. So that is the crowd, and that's all there is to that. Now we'll go down the batting orders for you. As the series stands locked at a game apiece, for the Yankees, it is Rizzuto leading off at short. Each manager has changed his batting order quite a bit today. Rizzuto leads off as usual, and Henrich, as usual, is hitting number 2 and playing at first base. Berra, after being out with a swollen hand yesterday, is back in the ball game today. Berra, left-hand hitting catcher. Joe DiMaggio hitting 4th and playing center field. Bobby Brown gets the starting nod over Billy Johnson at third base. Brown at third, also a left-hand batter. Branca, right-hander, starting for Brooklyn. Woodling, a left-hand hitter, is in left field and hitting 6th for the Yankees. This is his first start. Umpires moving up to the plate now, and the batting orders will soon be presented. Mapes goes back to right field, left-hand hitter. Coleman at second base, hits 8, and the pitcher is Byrne. The batting order for Brooklyn: Reese, retains the leadoff spot and playing at shortstop. Eddie Miksis, a right-hand hitter, with a left-hander starting for the Yankees for the first time in the series. Miksis starts at third. Carl Furillo is hitting third and is back in right field and reports to manager Shotton that he feels a great deal better. He has a groin injury, that kept him out of the starting lineup yesterday. Hitting fourth, Jackie Robinson. Miguel Hodges, the first baseman, is batting fifth. Luis Olmo, who finished in left field yesterday, is starting there today for Brooklyn, hitting sixth. Snider in center field is batting seventh. Campanella catching and hitting eighth. And the pitcher is Ralph Branca. Now the public address announcer is handing out the batting orders to the spectators here in the ballpark. Both pitchers continue working. The 6 umpires are up there. Casey Stengel, the manager of the Yankees, is up there to present his batting order. Captain Reese, who brings the Brooklyn list up to these pregame meetings, has not yet come out of the Brooklyn dugout. I was talking to manager Stengel, and I asked him, I said, Casey, this ballpark evokes many memories for you, doesn't it? He said, yes. This ballpark here at Brooklyn evokes memories for me from the time that this park was first opened for a professional game. It was a preseason exhibition game, and he says, oddly enough, with the New York Yankees. I was then, back in 1913, I was then a member of the Brooklyn team. And he said, all of the ball players in 1913 thought that this was the last word in baseball park, and that the Marble Rotunda was, well, the most spectacular thing that ever would be. So time really changes, and that brought back to mind that Charlie Ebbets, back in those days when people accused him of having too fancy a park, used to say that baseball was only in its infancy. And judging by the way the crowds are swelling in attendance, etc., I guess the game is still in its infancy. Now we have Wee Reese coming up with the Brooklyn batting order. The ground rules are being discussed. The 6 umpires in their working rotation. Art Passarella of the American League will be back at the plate on balls and strikes. Lou Jorda of the National League staff at first base. Cal Hubbard of the American League staff will be at second. And Beans Ridden of the National League will be at third. In the left field corner, National League umpire George Barr. And in the right field corner, American League umpire Ed Hurley. Now, with the scene shifting over to the National League Park, there is a change in baseballs, but it is not as much of a change as you might think. The last 2 days at Yankee Stadium, which is an American League Park, the baseballs were stamped with President Will Harridge's signature, and they were stamped with the American League. And the balls that will be used today and for the next 2 games here at Brooklyn, the National League Park, stamped with President Ford Frick's signature and the insignia of the National League. But Spalding makes them both, makes them on the same machines, and there is no difference between them. No difference at all. In other words, one is just the same as the other. The 2 starting pitchers, left-hander Byrne for the invading Yankees here at Ebbets Field, Brooklyn, and right-hander Ralph Branca, both continue crawling along. There was a very significant ceremony before the ball game, and that was a ceremony in which Commissioner Chandler presented a huge banner to the American Legion Junior Baseball team of Oakland, California, representing post number 337, the team that won the 1949 American Legion Junior Baseball National Championship. And they've been brought here as a body all the way from Oakland out on the Pacific Coast. And don't you know that bunch of boys is really having a time? And the commissioner gave them a great big banner. Man, that's some treasure. And it's interesting to note, too, that 27 of the 50 players certified for this World Series by Commissioner Chandler are graduates of American Legion Junior Baseball. 16 ex-Legion stars are with the Yankees, and 11 are with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Now we're going to have the ceremonies instant to the throwing out of the first ball. There's Commissioner Chandler over there in his box, which is just on the first base side, and he has with him a youngster who's just grinning so hard that I don't think he's been able to say a word for a couple of hours. Arthur C. Sweeney, 13 years old. He's a Brooklyn boy, and he was a victim of polio this year, and he has recovered beautifully. And There is Commissioner Chandler shaking hands with Borough President John Cashmore. John Cashmore stepping aside for this youngster, of course. Everybody steps aside for kids, for people who are in trouble, and especially for the fine cooperation with the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis. So, Arthur C. Sweeney, in just a second, will take the ball from Borough President Cashmore, and standing shoulder to shoulder with Commissioner Chandler, will fire that ball out toward the mound, and then the ball game will be on its way. Folks, to some of us, this month of October means the World Series and the beginning of football, and to others it means the start of the hunting season. But to all of us, it ushers in the annual drive on behalf of America's Community Chest. The Community Chest means many campaigns in one. It represents the biggest federation of community services and givers in the world. Were it not for this once-a-year campaign, each of more than 14,000 Red Feather Agency units in it would have to conduct a separate appeal for funds. So when the Community Chest worker in your town calls upon you, make a real worthwhile contribution. There are various payment plans, so pledge now and pay as you can during the year. The ground rules are still being discussed. We will check the batting orders for you in case you just joined us on this Gillette broadcast. Just before Game 3 of the 1949 World Series for the Yankees, Rizzuto at short, Henrik at first base, Berra is catching, DiMaggio in center, hitting fourth, Bobby Brown at third, Gene Woodling in left, Cliff Mapes in right, Jerry Coleman, the second baseman, and the pitcher is Tommy Byrne. The batting order for the Dodgers, Reese at short, Miksis at third, Furillo in right, Robinson at second, hitting fourth, Hodges at first, Olmo in left, Snider in center, Campanella catching, and the pitcher is Branca. The discussion incident to ground rules at this park, and of course Stengel is no stranger to this ballpark. Casey was as a player here on the first Brooklyn team to play in Ebbets Field back in 1913, played for many years, was a member of the Brooklyn pennant-winning team of 1916, which is being honored by being guests of President Branch Rickey and the Brooklyn Dodgers at this World Series. And all of them that were alive were brought in at the expense of the Dodgers, and tonight they're to be given a special banquet, and Casey Stengel says, sure, he's going to attend. He remembers that 1916 pennant was a mighty hard one to win, and he wants to be with those old friends for this evening. And, of course, Stengel managed here in Ebbets Field. So, well, this is the ballpark, too, you know, that Casey walked up the home plate one afternoon, lifted his cap, and a sparrow flew out. And Casey Stengel has had as much as any man that we know in setting the tradition that anything can and probably will happen at Ebbets Field.
Anyone interfering?
Just a quick description of the ballpark for you now. Right field is the famous wall here at Brooklyn. It is 297 feet down the right field line. It falls away sharply to where in right center field it is 395. That right field wall is 40 feet high. It's a 20 feet concrete wall with an additional 20 feet of screen paneling on top of it. And the scoreboard is stuck out in front of the concrete and wire fence in right center field. And you have any number of angles. The concrete wall does not go straight up and down. It goes up at a slant from the bottom and then is straight up and down halfway up. In other words, 10 feet off the ground. There are three different angles where the scoreboard intersects. So anybody who has played baseball will tell you that the right field wall here with its many angles is the most difficult single outfield piece of passage in any of the major league parks. Center field is 393 feet. In left center field, 351. In the left field corner, 348 feet. So this is a left-hand hitter's ballpark. The stands are double-decked here at Brooklyn, all the way from right center field, back around behind left, behind home plate, and to the right field corner. There are no seats at all. It is only the wall in straightaway right field. And now, friends, we'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Hear the World Series exclusively on WOR 710. See the World Series on WOR TV, Channel 9. WOR and WOR FM, New York.
Back at Ebbets Field, And the Brooklyn Club goes out to take the field. We will have the national anthem in just a moment, played and sung by Miss Gladys Gooding at the console of the electric organ. She has an odd distinction. She is one of the few women who has a real major league job in sport. She entertains here at Ebbets Field and at Madison Square Garden. So now Miss Gooding is being announced, and we will have the national anthem. We would like to add one more note before we turn the microphone over to Mel Allen, and that is that we are very happy to see down in the Yankee box that Mrs. Casey Stengel is sitting down there, because to add to the woes of the Yankee manager, Mrs. Stengel was quite sick last evening, but we are glad that it was temporary, because you can imagine how Casey would have felt if his wife had been unable to be out here at the ballpark today. So, under overcast skies, but with no prediction of rain, although you sort of feel it in the air, the ball game is ready to go. Big Branker's on the mound, and here at the microphone, Mel Allen, who has done such a great job in the field of sports broadcasting, has lent it and all of us in it much distinction. Mel?
Hello there, everybody. Thank you very much, Red. This program comes to you by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball. It's intended only for the private use of our audience. Any publication or reproduction of this program and commercial use of the program is prohibited. And so we're all set to go as Ralph Branco, the 23-year-old right-hander from Mount Vernon, New York, who stands 6'2", weighs around 185, is all set to compete in his second World Series. He worked twice in 1947. He won one and lost one. He opened the World Series for the Dodgers, was beaten by Spec Shea 5-3, but he's all set now to go against Phil Rizzuto as the Yankee shortstop, a right-hand hitter, steps into hitting position, chokes his bat a couple of inches. You got Eddie Miksis in close at third. Wee Reese in the steppers over toward third. In comes the first pitch of the ball game, swung on, popped up into the air, foul off to the right of the plate. Campanella, after it can't get it, it's out of play into the upper deck. So strike one as we're underway in the third game of the Fall Classic. Baseball people galore around. Charlie Grimm and Frankie Frisch are here as we look about. Ralph Branco looking in to get his sign from Campanella. Outfield around toward left. In comes the pitch. Rizzuto takes strike two, called a fastball over the outside corner, knee high. Art Passarella of the American League calling balls and strikes. Lou Jordan of the National League at first. Cal Hubbard of the American League at second. Beans Reardon of the National League at third. Now Ralph Branco, the right-hander, throws. Rizzuto takes high and inside for ball one. The count is 1-2. Ed Hurley of the American League stationed down the right field line. George Barr of the National League down the left field line. Branco getting set. Rizzuto in close to the plate up in front of the batter's box. Deep at third now is Miksis with 2 strikes on the scooter. In comes the pitch. Phil swings and sends a drive down the right field line. It's going to go foul and out of play. Missing the wall by about 10 feet and foul by about 25. Carl Furillo, playing right field, raced over to get the ball, but of course couldn't. Got Luis Olmo in left, Duke Snider in center, Furillo in right. Jackie Robinson is about 4 strides to the right of second base in the step. Hodges in halfway at first, 5 feet off the line. Ralph Frank, the right-hander, throws. Rizzuto swings and sends a ground ball to third. Up with his Miksis going to his left. The throw to Hodges in time, and there's one away. Bill Rizzuto grounds out Miksis to Hodges. A ground ball hit into the hole between third and short, but not too hard, giving Miksis a chance to flash to his left, come up with it, with Reese backing him up. And now here's Tommy Henrich, getting a hand as he is announced. Left-hand batter stands deep in the batter's box. Fairly close to the plate, not too close to it, however. Branca's first pitch to Tommy's right over for a called strike. The fastball got plenty of the inside part of the plate and just above the knees. Frank Cressetti coaching there at third base. Bill Dickey at first for New York. Miksis about 12 feet off the third baseline. Reese over towards second. In comes the pitch, inside and low for a ball, and the count is evened up at 1-1. Jackie Robinson at a point almost halfway between first and second, back on the edge of the outfield grass. The outfield around toward right and deep. In center and right, with Olmo looking for Henrich perhaps to slice toward left. So he's over toward left center a bit. The pitch, it's strike call over the outside corner, and it's a 1-2 count now on Henrich. Tommy started to cut at that ball. It was taking off, and he thought it might go wide of the plate, but it didn't. Roy Campanella picks up a clod of dirt off to the left of the plate, tosses it away in the direction of Yogi Berra, who's in the batter's circle. One out, nobody on, top of the first inning. Branca pitches. Henrich swings and grounds one down to first. Hodges up with it. Runs to the bag. Outruns Henrich, and they're two away. There's a hard ground ball right at Gil Hodges. And now with two down, up comes Yogi Berra. Larry Berra from St. Louis, Missouri, who had the distinction in this ballpark 2 years ago of hitting a pinch hit home run over the right center field screen. Yogi playing with that swollen left hand. Outfield, infield set up the same for Berra as for Henrich. Big Ralph Frank of the right-handers into the windup. Around comes the arm. The pitch, curve, swung on, a ground ball, foul down the first baseline. Gloved by Hodges, 3 feet foul. He whips it around to Robinson as the ball goes around the infield. 2 men down, top of the first inning. And the thousands here wondering, of course, whether we will have a reproduction today of the first 2 games of the series played at the stadium, both pitchers' battles, 2 1-0 ball games, the teams dividing them. 1 strike to count on Berra. Branca pitches, change up, and it's high and outside. Ball 1. He took a little bit off of a fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. When Red told you about Casey Stengel in this ballpark years ago taking off his cap and letting a sparrow fly out, it reminded me of another story I'll tell you about in a moment. Berra swings and fouls it off to the left of the screen. There were reports after Henrich's homer to win the first game in the 9th inning, 1-0, that was the first time that it had ever happened. It was the first time it had happened to make a 1-0 victory in a World Series in a 9th inning. But Stengel, where the Giants had beaten the Yankees with an inside-the-park homer, 1-0, but that occurred in the 7th inning. The 1-2 pitch swung on, a drive foul down the right field line going out of play. And when Casey hit that ball at Yankee Stadium, an inside-the-park homer, he lost his shoe rounding second base and continued to circle the bases with 1 shoe on and 1 off. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the first inning. No score, nobody on base. Branca studies Campanella's sign. Roy in a crouch behind that plate, giving the pitcher a good target. The Dodger right-hander delivers, and Berra swings and drives another one foul down the right field line. This one into the upper deck. Swung on a curveball. Throughout the year, Yogi hits more foul home runs than any other member of the Yankee ball club, and perhaps more than a lot of ball players in a lot of clubs. In other words, he pulls very sharply, and he'll hit 1,000,000 of them just foul into the right field stands. Branca all set. The 1-2 pitch, and Berra swings and misses. Strike 3. Struck him out on a high fastball. It took off outside. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. And the score at the end of the first half of the first inning is New York 0, Brooklyn 0. You know, for 11 years, Gillette has broadcast the series and other sports classics for you fans. We know you enjoy these events. Yes, and thanks to your record-breaking purchases of Gillette products, we're able right now to offer you the greatest bargain in shaving history. Men, it's the improved Gillette Super Speed Razor Set in a stylish styrene travel case. This one-piece Gillette razor changes blades instantly and gives you the sweetest shaves ever. With it, you get a handy Gillette dispenser holding 10 Gillette Blue Blades, every one factory sharp. And as I said, the combination comes in a serviceable styrene case that's really something. Now bend an ear. This outstanding $1.75 value is priced at only $1. Yes, only $1. So for the shaving buy of the year, get Gillette's World Series razor set. It's a beauty and a bargain. Last half of the first inning. The Dodgers sending up Wee Reese, Eddie Miksis, and Carl Furillo against the left-handed slants of Tommy Byrne. Born in Baltimore, Maryland, currently resides in Wake Forest, North Carolina. He went to Wake Forest, as did Ray Scarborough, Washington Senator pitcher. They were teammates down there. Tommy Byrne represents, in a manner of speaking, an enigma to Casey Stengel and to baseball observers. He has some of the best stuff any pitcher has in baseball. But his problem always has been controlling it. He frequently will pitch a game in which he'll walk anywhere from 6 to 10 men or more, and yet keep the opposition from scoring. On the other hand, there have been times his wildness has cost him ball games. And so we're all set to go, and you never know just how Tommy Byrne will go. Generally, he has most of his wildest problems in the first inning, which has caused managers to wonder whether or not Tommy should warm up a little longer than the usual 15 minutes allotted for it. They've tried that, but that hasn't worked. Here's Wee Reese leading off, right-hand hitter. Left-hander Tommy Byrne into the windup. In comes the pitch, and it is in there for a called strike. You've got Bobby Brown playing third base today, and he's in close in the event of a bunt by Reese. You've got Gene Woodling in left and Cliff Mapes in right. Yankee changes from the first two games. In comes the delivery, and it's outside and low for a ball. 1-1. Byrne has a fastball that's alive. He's got a sweeping curve, and he's got a fast-breaking curve. The outfield playing Reese toward left and center and left with Mapes pulled over into right center a bit. In comes your delivery. Swung on and missed. Strike two. Reese gave it a good cut. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count on Pee Wee. Tommy Byrne, despite his wildness, has through the course of this year, in winning 15 games and losing 7, won several key games for the Yankees in their battle for the pennant. Just when they had appeared to be in the throes of a losing slump, he would come along and win a key game for them, such as against Cleveland or one of the top teams that the Yankees had to beat. Now the delivery is inside. Reese hit him. I believe it hit him on the leg as that ball broke. Well, you know him, it did. He gets up and he trots on down to first. With a 1-2 count on Reese, Byrne whipped a terrifically breaking curveball inside, but it broke so far in that Reese couldn't even get out of the way of it. It hit him on the right ankle, or just above the right ankle, and time has been called while he trots up and down the line beyond first base toward right to take the sting out of it, and also the possibility of getting that blood circulating around in there so he can run. Jake Fittler, coaching that first base, is talking to him. Pee Wee says he's going to be all right. Meantime, Tommy is throwing a couple into Larry Berra. And time is back in, and into the plate now steps Eddie Miksis. Bats him right-handed, replacing Spider Jorgensen at third today with a left-hander going for New York. And so Tommy Byrne's wildness immediately comes into the spotlight ahead of the first hitter. He hit him. So Reese moves off first. The stretch by Tommy Byrne, a check of the runner. In comes the pitch, and it is a bunt foul off to the left of the plate, out of play, into the stands, to the left of our Mutual and Gillette broadcasting booth, which is located directly back of home plate. 1 strike to count on Eddie Miksis. Carl Furillo's on deck. Miksis is almost a local boy. He's from Burlington, New Jersey. Stands deep in the batter's box. Slightly open stance in close to the plate. Holds the bat just short of the end of the handle. Brown in close at third. Here's your pitch. Miksis takes outside for a ball. He did not indicate that he was going to bunt that time. Evidently, Bert shot and took the bunt sign off. Now he can just as quickly put it back on. Bobby Brown still in close at third. Rizzuto's in halfway at short. 3 strides to the left of second. Coleman, same distance to the right of the bag and in halfway. Henry calling against Reese, who takes a good lead. The stretch by Byrne. A look. And the pitch into the plate. Outside. Ball 2. 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Tommy Byrne now forcing himself a little bit after having hit Reese. He has a problem of his own mentally, and that he's thinking about his wildness. 2 balls, 1 strike. Byrne all set. A look at Reese leading off first. And the pitch to Miksis. Outside for ball 3. 3-1. Now Jerry Coleman trots in from second base to talk to Byrne. No activity in the Yankee bullpen as yet. Coleman talking to Tommy. You've got Carl Furillo on deck and Jackie Robinson to follow. The last half of the first inning, no score. Top of the order for Brooklyn. Reese on first, hit by a pitched ball. The count 3-1 on Eddie Miksis. Byrne takes his stretch. Reese with the lead. The delivery right in there for call strike 2. Pumped a fastball through there. Miksis steps out of the batter's box just for a moment. Now he's back in. Miksis' hind foot is half out of the back restraining line of the batter's box. It's a violation that's often, most of the time, overlooked. We're ready for the payoff pitch. There goes Reese. The pitch is swung on. It's a high pop-up off to the left of the plate. Berra stumbles as he starts back for the ball, getting toward the dugout for the Yankees and makes the catch. And Reese goes to second base. There's a throw to Coleman, and Reese is double up at second base. And Art Passarella just ran over to the Yankee dugout and warned Casey Stengel. Stengel had come out of the Yankee dugout onto the playing area proper to coach Berra on the ball, and Passarella warned him. But it was a daring gamble by Pee Wee and an alert play and a good play by Yogi to double up Reese at second. And they're 2 down, and here's Carl Furillo, right-hand hitter, and the pitch. Swung on a drive to deep right center field. DiMaggio racing back toward the wall and meets, and DiMaggio's there under it, and he makes the catch. No runs for Brooklyn. No hits, no Yankee errors, nobody left on base, and so we've had a lot of excitement already in the opening inning, and it may be a harbinger of things to come in this third game of the World Series. So in the last half of the first inning, after Reese was hit by the pitched ball, Miksis, with a 3-1 count on him, took the next pitch for 3-2, and then hit a high foul pop-up off to the left of the plate that Yogi Berra caught after stumbling, starting back, caught it near the Yankee dugout, and Pee Wee tagged up at first and broke for second, with Berra having his back to the play, thinking he might get the jump, thinking perhaps that Berra wouldn't figure him to be going. But Yogi whirled, and of course the boys on the bench hollered to Yogi to tell him, and threw. His throw was not too true. It was on the shortstop side of second. But Jerry Coleman was there to take it and had plenty of time to reach for it and then come back and tag Reese out sliding in for the double play. So as we go to the top of the second inning of the scoreless game, up steps Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio leads off with Bobby Brown and Gene Woodling to follow. Ralph Branca on the hill. Outfield around toward left, infield around toward third. To the pitch, right over for a call strike. Fastball, overhand fastball. Miksis deep at third near the line, about 2 feet off of it. Wee Reese back on the edge of the left field grass and over toward the third base hole with Robinson 3 strides to the right of second. Branca throws low outside for a ball. 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Dodgers have certainly got a good book on the Yankees. That is to say, they have scouted them well. Scouting is permitted in baseball just as it is in football. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ralph Branca works. And the pitch. Curve swung on and missed. Strike 2. A good swing, a good hook. 1-2 the count. DiMaggio's had only one hit in the series, and that was what the boys in the trade term a bleeder, as he beat out a slow roller in the ninth inning yesterday. Branca ahead of the hitter, and the 1-2 pitch on its way. DiMaggio swings and misses. Strike three. Joe DiMaggio went down swinging on an inside fastball. And now coming up is Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown, third baseman.
Bobby bats him left-handed. He had a 1,000 batting average for World Series play until he pinch hit yesterday and struck out. In 1947, he hit every time that he was charged with a time at bat. Branca's first pitch is swung on. It's a looping fly ball out in the short center. Going out is Robinson. In comes Snider's Jackie out there. Makes the catch in short center for out number 2. With 2 down, the batter is Gene Woodling.
Position, number 14, Gene Woodling, left fielder.
Woodling came up from San Francisco to the Yankees this year after having had brief trials with Cleveland and Pittsburgh. He led the Pacific Coast League in hitting last year with a .385 average. A boy from Akron, Ohio. Stands in close to the plate, deep in the batter's box, feet together. Chokes the bat just about an inch. In comes the pitch, and it's a little inside. Ball 1. They play Woodling toward right and center and right, straight away and left. The big gap in left center. Woodling slices. He can pull. Third baseman Eddie Miksis in halfway on the skin part of the infield, a dozen feet off the line. Branca throws. The pitch is right over for a call strike, a fastball, and the count is evened up at 1-1. Reese is about 3 strides to the left of second, in 2 steps. Jackie Robinson halfway between first and second, back on the edge of the right field grass with Gil Hodges deep and 3 feet off the first baseline. 1-1 the count. 2 men out, top of the second inning, no score. Branca's pitch. Strike. Gets called a fastball over that inside corner. Backed Woodling away, but the pitch stayed right in there. A 1-2 count on Gene. Cliff Mapes on deck. Frank Rossetti coaching there at third, hollering something up to Woodling. Branca gets his sign from Campanella. Starts the windup. Around comes the right arm. The pitch. Curve, and it's outside. Ball 2. It was a beauty. Just missed. Art Passarella calling balls and strikes for the American League. Lou Jordan of the National League umpiring at first. Cal Hubbard of the American League at second. Beans Reardon of the National League at third. George Barr of the National League down the left field line. And Ed Hurley of the American League down the right field line. And now Branca's 2-2 pitch to Woodling. Swung on, it's a high pop-up, foul off back of third. Miksis waves Campanella off, and he's under it and makes the catch. Woodling fouls out to Miksis. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. And we move right along. You know, watching today's game with us here in the broadcasting booth is a ball player you all know, Bertie Tebbetts, aggressive receiver for the Boston Red Sox. Bertie, tell the folks why you prefer Gillette Blue Blades.
Well, that's a cinch, Mel. They're the only kind that give me a decent shave.
Well, how do you account for that?
Well, they're sharper than a hound's tooth, and they don't break down like other blades do.
You buy them in the Gillette dispenser, of course.
Naturally. It costs nothing extra and is mighty handy.
Yes, fans, it pays to ask for Gillette Blue Blades. 10 or 20 at a time in the modern Gillette dispenser that zips them out unwrapped. You save time, save fuss, and change blades presto. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Ready now for the last half of the second inning. 0-0. And so far, this has been primarily a goose egg series, hasn't it, Red?
Well, Mel, you've had only 2 runs and 2 ball games and 1.5 innings.
Number 42, Jackie
I don't believe they run out of goose eggs for the scoreboard, do you?
I believe they got enough out there if the pitchers can continue to deal them out.
Jackie Robinson leads off for the Dodgers in the last half of the second. Gil Hodges and Luis Olmo to follow. Phil Rizzuto hollers something over there to Tommy Byrne as Tommy went to the rosin bag. The left-hander sets to work on Big Jackie, right-hand hitter. Brown in close at third. in the event of the bunt. Tommy Byrne's pitch to Robinson. Swung on. It's a high fly ball out into short right. As a matter of fact, the wind is holding it up, and Coleman, back of Henrik, makes the catch. A step on the skin part of the infield. As the ball started out, it looked as if it was going to go out into short right. Mape started in, but the wind, which is blowing in from right field and out toward left, held it up. And Coleman took it right in behind Henrik. So with one down, up comes Gil Hodges. Bats him right-handed. Outfield is around toward left. Hodges drove in the winning run for the Dodgers yesterday. Drove in Jackie Robinson, who had doubled in that inning. Now the pitch. Strike call over the outside corner. Byrne southpaw to fastball. That nicked the outside part of the plate just above the knees to Big Gil. Brown deep at third, or halfway back near the line. In comes the pitch, and it's way outside for a ball. 1-1. Phil Rizzuto is not too far over into the third base hole, but pretty close to it. Jerry Coleman only about 2 strides to the right of second. Henrik 10 feet off first base, in halfway on the skin part of the infield. In comes the pitch. Hodges takes strike, called, as Tommy Byrne whipped a curve over the outside corner. It's a 1-2 count now on Hodges. 1 out. Last half of the second inning, no score. Milton Stock, coaching at third for the Dodgers, cups his hands over his mouth, hollers words of encouragement up to Big Gil, who has come along fast in his development as a first baseman. In comes the pitch. Curve swung on, popped up into the air, off to the left of the plate. Yogi Berra goes over and makes the catch.
Batting in sixth position.
That brings up now Luis Olmo.
Left fielder.
Hodges fouls out to Berra. Off to the left of home plate. Now Luis Olmo steps in, right-hand hitter. Tommy Byrne's first pitch to him is low, ball 1. We've had some excellent umpiring in the series. Casey Stengel comes to the front of the Yankee dugout and motions something out there to Woodling. Gene hasn't seen him. Byrne delivers, almost started to swing, held up as the pitch stayed inside around the letters for ball 2. And now Stengel is back out of the dugout. He's trying to get somebody's attention. And he's getting Brown's attention. Now he's got Woodling's eye, and Woodling is moving more over toward left center. DiMaggio is a step or 2 over toward right center, and Mapes almost straight away in right. The 2-0 pitch to Olmo. Right over for a call strike. 2-1. Milton Stock, with a gesture of the hands, indicates to Olmo just meet the ball. It's a 2-1 count on the right-hand hitter. 2 outs, last the second inning. A scoreless ball game. Duke Snider's on deck. Tommy Byrne comes in with the pitch, and it is swung on, popped up into the air, off to the right of the plate, but it's going to come back out of play. Just above our heads. 2-2 the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, inning number 2. Each team looking for win number 2 in this series. Tommy Byrne, the slow worker, rubs up the cover of that new ball. Things are fairly quiet at the moment, as you would expect in a scoreless ball game. There's big Hank Greenberg sitting behind Bill Beck, eating himself a hot dog. All right, Tommy Byrne set to go again. In comes the pitch, and it is swung on. A slow roller hit down toward third. Bobby Brown charges it up with it, fires over to Henrik, and it is in time for the out in a close play. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. Olmo topped the pitch. It rolled slowly down third. Brown charged it and fired Olmo out on a very close play, one of those pat-pat or bang-bang plays, as they say in the trade. And thus, at the end of 2 innings, you have another scoreless ball game. The Yankees have been 3 up and 3 down. The Dodgers have only had 6 batters, but they've had 1 on, Wee Reese, who was hit by a pitched ball, but immediately was doubled up by the next hitter. This is Mel Allen with Red Barber, bringing you the World Series in behalf of the Gillette Safety Razor Company, who are proud to bring it to you for the 11th consecutive year. Jim Britt doing the telecast of the World Series games, and Rene Canizares beaming it to the Latin American countries, and our broadcast going around the world through the shortwave facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Cliff Mapes looks at a strike, a fastball fired through there by Ralph Branco, who wears the number 13 on his uniform, but he's not superstitious. As a matter of fact, he's one of 13 children. A strong-armed, broad-shouldered right-hander fires away. Mapes takes inside. Another fast one, ball one, 1-1. Branco joined the Dodger organization in 1943. Best year was in 1947 when he won 21 ball games. Went to New York University. 1 ball, 1 strike. Miksis is wide of third. In comes the pitch. Mapes takes a curve that's high. Ball 2, 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike. It's an overcast day, as Red told you a while ago. For those of you who may have tuned in late, we repeat it. No immediate threat of rain, however. The wind is blowing out toward left, in from right. Now the delivery. Swung on, foul tipped, and into the mid of Campanella for strike 2. 2-2. Cliff Mapes is a boy that has tremendous power. He also has definite weaknesses at the plate that pitchers capitalize on, but if they make one mistake, he's got so much power, he can hurt you. Branco's 2-2 delivery on its way. And Mapes swings and foul tips it, dropped by Campanella, and Mapes is alive. That's a rough job back of that plate. When we say that a catcher's dropped the third foul tip, it's not meant in any sense of criticism of the backstop. Those balls come spinning back there, and they're rough. Even if you've got a mask and protector on, as they do have, it's still rough to handle. Now the delivery. Curve is low inside. Ball 3. Full count now on Mapes. This is the first batter on which Branco's gone to a 3-2 count. His control has been superb up to now. No score, top of the third inning. And the payoff pitch on its way. Mapes takes high, ball 4, and he's on. And that is the first base on balls given up by a Brooklyn pitcher in this series.
Number 42, Jerry Coleman.
Neither Don Newcomb nor Preacher Rowe gave up a walk. Mapes gets the first walk issued in the series by a Brooklyn pitcher. And now coming to bat is Jerry Coleman, pride of San Francisco. 24 years of age. The pitch is right in there for a call strike. Jerry stands about 6 feet, but he isn't very hefty. He only weighs around 165. Has come along marvelously, and though he may not be the rookie of the year in the American League, he did play good enough ball to be in contention for that honor. Miksis is in close at third. Mapes has a lead. Hodges holding the stretch, the pitch. Coleman swings and fouls it off to the right of the plate. It's out of play, onto the roof and out of the ballpark. A 2-strike count on Jerry. The Dodger outfield today consists of Olmo in left, Snider in center, Furillo in right. Miksis is at third as we go to the infield. Reese short, Robinson second, Hodges first, Campanella catching, and Branco pitching. Miksis isn't looking for the bunt. He's halfway back at third near the line. Reese is in halfway at short, 4 stripes to the left of second. Robinson halfway between first and second and in halfway. Here's the pitch. Swung on. It's a high fly ball, curving foul back to first. Hodges digs over near the stands, but he cannot get it. It's out of play. The ball dropping about 10 rows in. A 2-strike count still on Coleman. Naturally, he wouldn't, as we go back to Miksis, would not be looking for the bunt with 2 strikes on Jerry. But stranger things have happened. The outfield is just about straight away. Coleman, though he can pull, has for the most part in this series been hitting to right field. And Carl Furillo is stationed over toward the right field line. Now the delivery. Curve is right in there. Throw down to first base. Mapes just back in time. That was the 3rd strike on Coleman. We didn't have time to tell you that it was the 3rd one. Of course, you knew if you were following the count because Campanella whipped a quick throw down to Hodges trying to double up Mapes, who had a good lead off the bag, but Mapes got back in time. So Coleman looks at the 3rd strike. Beautiful curve, and that's the third strikeout for Branca. And now coming to bat is Tommy Byrne. Though Byrne did not hit for a high average during the course of the season, nonetheless, he is what is generally termed a good hitting pitcher. He's dangerous, in other words, at the plate. He hit 193, but he drove in 13 runs. He's the kind of a guy who might hit the long ball for you. He might just take 3 cuts and sit down. The delivery, right in there for a called strike over that inside corner above the knees. The outfield is shading him toward right, slightly in center and right. Almost a straightaway setup. Byrne hits a lot down the left field line if he gets an outside pitch. He can also pull them. Here's your delivery. Low inside for a ball. 1-1. Tommy had 16 hits in the regular season. 4 of them were doubles and 2 of them triples. Mapes has the lead. Hodges holding. Here's your pitch. Curve, and it's low inside. Ball 2, 2-1. Eddie Miksis walks a step or two from third over toward the mound to pep up Ralph Branca. Ralph decides to take a white handkerchief out of his right hip pocket and mop his face. It isn't a warm day, but it is warm when a guy's out there throwing that ball. Looking around, we see Joe Cronin, general manager of the Red Sox, seated off to the left of the Yankee dugout. There goes Mapes. The pitch is swung on. A ground ball hit out past Robinson into right center for a base hit. Mapes around second on his way to third. Snider up to the ball, whips it into Robinson, and it's a base hit for Byrne. That's the Yankees' first hit of the ball game. They put the hit and run on, and Byrne wrapped a solid base hit to the right of second. Jackie Robinson made a beautiful backhanded attempt to get that ball, but couldn't quite reach it. Duke Snider went over into right center to grab it, whipped his throw back to the infield, but Cliff Mapes, who was off and running, raced to third. Now Joe Hatton, a left-hander, begins to throw in the Dodger bullpen as Phil Rizzuto steps up. Phil grounded to third in the first inning. The Dodger infield is in for a play at the plate. Here's the pitch. Phil takes in over the inside corner for a called strike. He started to cut but held up. His reflexes are wonderful. He can make a move and stop right on a dime. Miksis and Reese are almost at the edge of the infield grass. Robinson is not quite so close. He's halfway. Hodges holding against Byrne. Here's your pitch. It's bunny down the first baseline. Here comes Mapes, and the ball goes foul. They attempted the squeeze. Hodges broke from first toward the plate, but allowed the ball to roll foul, and he saw it spinning that way. Casey Stengel comes just to the front of the Yankee dugout and hollers to Phil to get a piece of it now. There's 2 strikes on the scooter. Hodges might have had a play at the plate had the ball remained fair. Mapes on third. Byrne on first, 1 out, and for Ralph Branca and the Dodgers, Rizzuto is the key man in this inning. Stretch by Ralph. The pitch. Swung on to fly ball, hit out into right center field. Furillo goes over, gets under it, makes the catch. Here's Mapes tagging up, and he scores. And the Yankees lead 1-0 as the throw was way off on the third base side of home plate. I thought Hodges was going to cut it off as Tommy Byrne made a break for second, but Byrne, thinking they were going to cut it off, then held up and came back to first. So Rizzuto flies out to Furillo in right center and is credited with a run batted in as Mapes tagged up and scored after the catch. And as baseball observers will tell you, there again is that base on ball. Isn't that right, Red?
Well, that's the first one the Dodger pitched to given up, and it probably cost them a run.
And now here's Tommy Henrik. Bats him left-handed, 2 down. The pitch. Curve inside, ball 1. Tommy Byrne on first base. Joe Hatton continues to throw in the bullpen. 1-0 New York, top of the third inning. Henrik grounded out to Hodges in the first inning. Gill is not holding now against Tommy, but just in behind him. Now the delivery. Way inside to Henrik. Ball 2. 2-0 to count. In these World Series games, once a pitcher allows a runner or two to get on as a rule, the bullpen becomes alive. The time is short. Best 4 games out of 7. You're not playing 154. And you got to throw everything you've got into each game, as much as you possibly can throw into it, and save something for the next day. Now the delivery. Changeup is high and away for ball 3. A 2-0 pitch is a favorite one for a batter to swing on. And sometimes it's a very smart pitch, changing up on a fastball hitter, as Henrik is, if you can get it over. But it was high outside. 2 down. Branca ready for the 3-0 pitch. Here it is. Inside, ball 4. And Tommy Byrne moves down to second. Henrik takes over at first, as Branca gives up his second walk of the inning. And the batter now is Yogi Berra, who struck out in the first inning. Reese and Campanella converge at the mound to talk to Branca, to settle him down. And so we are beginning to get more action in this third game of the World Series than has been customary so far. That is, more concentrated action. Had scattered explosions here or there in the first 2 games. Yogi Berra steps in. Byrne moves off second. Henrik off first. 2 down, 1 in. Top of the third inning. 1-0 New York. Outfield toward right and center and right. Straightaway almost in left. Big gap in left center. Mixes halfway back at third. 10 feet off the line. Reese in a couple of steps. 3 strides to the left to second. The pitch is inside. Ball 1 to Yogi. Jackie Robinson deep at second, halfway between first and second bases, with Hodges deep near the line. The wind, remember, is blowing away from right out toward left. Berra, left-hand pull hitter, awaits the pitch from Branca. Campanella and the Krause gives Branca the sign. 1 run in, top of the third inning. 2 down, 2 on. 1-0 New York. Byrne moves off second base. Henrik off first. Stretch by Branca. In comes the pitch. Berra swings and sends a pop-up right out to second to Robinson. He takes it for the out, and the inning is over. That ball had Jackie fooled momentarily, as it did most of us. As it started out, it looked as if it might go further. Jackie took a step out toward right field and stopped and came in for the ball. It was not hit as hard or as well as it appeared. 1 run for New York. 1 hit. No Dodger errors. 2 men left on for the Yankees. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings, New York 1, Brooklyn nothing. Bertie Tebbetts of the Boston Red Sox gave it to you straight when he said that Gillette blue blades are sharper than all get out and don't break down like other blades do. Yes, fans, Gillette blue blades are sharp, plenty sharp, and have edges that stand up for one quick, easy shave after another. So they give you better looking, more refreshing shaves, and far more of them for your money. Buy Gillette blue blades and the modern Gillette dispenser. This handy magazine deals them out unwrapped, ready for use. What's more, it protects the blades perfectly so that they stay factory sharp until used. You pay nothing extra for this convenience. A Gillette dispenser loaded with 20 blades, 40 shaving edges, is 98 cents. With 10 blades, 49 cents. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette blue blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. Last half of the third inning, the Dodgers will come up with Duke Snider, Roy Campanella, and most likely Ralph Branca. See Red sort of looking down to see if there's any possibility of anybody being around a bat rack, but Hatton is no longer warming up, and it's early in the game and only a 1-run difference, so the likelihood of Branca being out of there is very remote. Last of the third, Duke Snider steps in. Left-hand batter, power hitter. Stands 6'2", weighs around 175, in close to the plate. Left-hander Tommy Byrne delivers. Snider takes outside for a ball. Almost swung on it. Boy from Compton, California. 23 years of age. Byrne throws. The pitch is in there for a call strike. Sidearm fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike on Duke. Yanks 1, Dodgers nothing. Last half of the 3rd inning. 3rd game of the World Series. Each team has won a game. Now Tommy Byrne's delivery. Snider swings and sends a fly ball into left center. DeMad starts back and has to come in. The wind is holding up. Here comes Woodling, and Woodling makes the catch. That wind is rough today and causes the outfielders and infielders a little trouble. That ball started out into left center, and DiMaggio had started back. And then suddenly had to stop and start in as the wind carried that ball away from him and in toward the infield. But fortunately for the Yankees, Gene Woodling also had started for the ball, and the left fielder racing over toward left center and in made the catch. Now here's Roy Campanella, right-hand batter. Byrne throws. Campanella swings, bounds it down to third. 2 hops to Bobby Brown near the line. He fires across to Henrik in time, and they're 2 away. Campanella smacked a hard 2-hopper to Bobby Brown just inside the third baseline. Bobby was playing it in there close and grabbed it to throw him out easily. Here's Ralph Franco coming to bat now. 2 up and 2 away. Last of the 3rd. New York 1. Dodgers nothing. Casey Stengel to the front of the dugout of the Yankees now. Pushing Woodling over toward left center more. The pitch in there for a called strike. The outfield setup is just about straight away. Woodling was a little closer to the left field line than Stengel wanted him. Bobby Brown's about 5 feet off the third base line, 3 steps away from the edge of the infield grass. Rizzuto 4 strides to the left of second in about 2 steps. Byrne delivers. The pitch is over for call strike 2. You got Jerry Coleman 4 strides to the right of second and deep, and Henrik 6 or 8 feet off the first base line, and he's fairly deep there at first. 2 strikes to count on Branca. Tommy Byrne, the left-hander, into the windup, delivers, and it's swung on and missed. Strike 3. The ball dropped by Berra. He picks it up, throws easily down to Henrik for the out as Branca ran it, and that's all for the Dodgers. The put-out goes 2-3 since Berra dropped the third strike. It's a strikeout, however, for Byrne, and his first of the ball game. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Let's listen to this announcement. This is an announcement concerning the fact that a number of the players in this World Series are boys who started out in American Legion baseball. At the end of 3 innings, then, your totals. The Yankees 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on. The Dodgers have had only 1 man on base, that Wee Reese, who was hit by a pitched ball in the top of the first inning and was doubled up at second base by Berra after he had caught Miksis' foul pop-up over toward the Yankee dugout to the left of home plate. Now, as we go to the top half of the 4th inning,
is the Oakland, California Post, number 33017.
The announcement that is going over the public address system concerns information already given to you by Red Barber earlier, and so we move right along with the ball game. Joe DiMaggio will be leading off in the top of the 4th, with Bobby Brown and Gene Woodling to follow. Tomorrow's game will start again at 1 o'clock. And Gillette will be on the air over Mutual at 12:45. That's Eastern Standard Time. On Sunday, however, if we might anticipate just a bit, the game will start an hour and 5 minutes later, 2:05. So we'd like to tell you today, so you be sure and remember that on Sunday. Ralph Branca pitches to DiMaggio, swings and misses, strike 1. Our broadcast time on Sunday will be at 1:45, however, Eastern Standard Time. That's just for Sunday. Tomorrow we'll be on at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time. Ralph Branca delivers. DiMaggio swings, fouls it back onto the screen. Strike 2. Joe, always a key figure, has not had a good series offensively. He's had only 1 hit, a roller which he beat out. But then it must be remembered that he actually got out of a sick bed, battling off a near attack of virus pneumonia to finish up the season, the last 2 games with the Yankees, and is still not at full strength. Now the pitch. High, ball 1, 1-2. But his mere presence in the lineup is inspirational to his teammates, and he's always a threat. 1-0 New York, 4th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Clipper. Branca delivers. DeMadge swings and misses. Strike 3. Hit hard the curveball, and that's the second straight time Joe has struck out. That's the 4th strikeout for Branca. And in the series, 4 times DiMaggio has struck out. Struck out once on opening day of the series, and once yesterday and twice today. Bobby Brown, who popped out to Robinson in the second inning, steps in, left-hand hitter, chokes that bat, bends slightly at the knees, leans from the waist. Right-hander Branca throws outside, ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes, 1-0. Favor the Yankees, 4th inning, 1 out, nobody on. It's getting a little darker out here right now, isn't it, Red, or is it my imagination?
No, it's getting darker, Mel. Rather ominous looking. It might rain before the afternoon's over.
That wind is really whipping those flags around out toward left from right. The pitch swung on, popped up in the air, back of third. Miksis drifts across the foul line under the ball, and he makes the catch. Bobby Brown fouls out to Eddie Miksis, about 25 feet down the line from third base and 10 feet or so foul. With 2 down, up comes Gene Woodling, who fouled out to Miksis in the second inning. And Cliff Mapes is on deck. Branca studies Campanella's sign. Into the windup, he throws. The pitch is inside, up around the letters. And it's a 1-0 count on Woodling. Ralph taking his time. The Mount Vernon, New York right-hander into a quick windup. Throws the pitch, a curve over for a call strike. When I say a quick windup, Branca doesn't take one of those lengthy, graceful windups. As he stands on the rubber, gets his sign, he quickly brings his hands up over the head and, without too much of a windup, comes down and throws. Now the delivery. Swung on. There's a line drive to right center field. Furillo racing over. He cannot get it. It's off the scoreboard. Woodling rounds first, heads for second. The throw comes in. Sliding in safely with a double is Gene Woodling as Reese takes the throw. Furillo is limping. Gene Woodling lines a double off the scoreboard in right center field. Carl Furillo, unable to go after a ball with his usual speed because of the groin injury he sustained before the end of the season, limped over after the ball. However, it was high up on the scoreboard. He couldn't have caught it anyway. Snider converged with him. And now here's Cliff Mapes, who walked in the third inning and came on around to score on Byrne's single and Rizzuto's fly ball to right. They pitch to Cliff, high, ball 1. There are 2 men away, top of the 4th inning. 1-0 New York. Woodling's double is the Yankees' second hit. Branca stretches, pitches. Mapes swings, sends a little roller. Wide at first. There's Hodges going over, and then he lets Robinson do it. He throws to Branca, covering for the out. Hodges started over the ball, and Jackie hollered him off. He took it. Branca covered beautifully, and Mapes is out. Robinson to Branca. No runs for the Yankees. 1 hit. No errors for the Dodgers. 1 left on for New York. And the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play is the Yankees 1, the Dodgers 0. You know, almost 1 million men recently bought Gillette one-piece razors on our guarantee of complete satisfaction or double their money back. It's an amazing fact that nearly 2,000 to 1 preferred the razor to twice its purchase price. Yes, men, and those are the odds that you will agree the Gillette one-piece razor is the easiest shaving and most convenient ever. The Gillette one-piece razor changes blades instantly, skims off stubble slick as a whistle, and rinses clean in a jiffy. Each set includes a 10-blade Gillette dispenser and an attractive serviceable travel case. See the Gillette Super Speed set. A big $1.75 value for only $1. Look at the gold-plated Gillette Milord, $2.75, and the superb gold-plated Gillette Aristocrat, $3.79. Any one of these fine Gillette razors will give you matchless shaving ease and convenience. Last half of the 4th inning. Top of the order for Brooklyn. Wee Reese, Eddie Miksis, and Carl Furillo. Very dark overhead. Dodger fans begin to squirm and call for a little action. Pee Wee hit by a pitched ball in the first inning, the only Dodger to reach base. Right-hand hitter waits the delivery from Byrne, and it is in there for a call strike as he broke off a breaking pitch over the inside corner, waist high. Bobby Brown moves in the step at third on the grass to tamp down some of the turf. He's in close in the event of the bunt. Byrne throws, Reese swings and sends a long drive to deep left field. It may be going. It is gone. And they're all tied up at 1-1 as Pee Wee Reese put the slug on one of Tommy Byrne's fastballs and drove it over the 351-foot sign into the left field stands in the lower section. And now here is Eddie Miksis, a right-hand batter. Takes outside, ball one. That was the first Dodger hit off Tommy Byrne. And it's a 1-1 ball game. Miksis fouled out to Barrow in the first inning. Tommy Byrne southpaws one in. Eddie swings and sends a drive to deep center field. DiMaggio's out there, though, and takes it for the out. Miksis got hold of one and drove it sharply to center, but right at the Yankee clipper. So with one down, up steps Carl Furillo, who skied to center the first inning. And as it was a predominantly Yankee crowd at Yankee Stadium, it is predominantly Dodger here at Ebbets Field. And the crowd has awakened with Pee Wee Reese's terrific blast into the left center field stands to tie up the ball game at 1-1. Carl Furillo, right-hand hitter. Tommy Byrne, the left-hander, throws. The pitch is swung on, lined into left field, past Brown for a base hit. Woodling goes over, cuts the ball off, whips his throw to second. Furillo holds it first with a line single just to the left of Bobby Brown. And now here's Jackie Robinson. There's still no action in the Yankee bullpen. Henrik walks over to talk to Byrne. Each Dodger who has come up in this inning has spanked the ball hard. The fans are standing up to look toward the Yankee bullpen. The Yankee bullpen is seated and looking at the folks standing up. But there could be a hurry call in a moment. Every ball has been hit hard, including the out. Mixes liner to center. All right, Furillo leads off first. Jackie Robinson up, a right-hand hitter. The pitch inside. It's a curveball, ball one. Robinson popped out in the second inning to Jerry Coleman. A 1-1 ball game, last half of the fourth inning. Henrik not holding against Furillo, just in behind him. Byrne delivers. Robinson takes low, ball two. Jake Pittler dancing around, coaching there at first. And now there's Jim Turner, Casey Stengel's pitching coach, signaling for action in the bullpen. A left-hander and a right-hander. We'll give you their identities in a moment as soon as they take their jackets off and go to work. Meantime, Tommy Byrne ready for his 2-0 pitch. Delivers, and it is outside for ball three. Joe Page is the Yankee left-hander. And the right-hander is Fred Sanford. Now, Tommy Henrik moves over from first base to talk to Byrne, who breezed through the Dodger lineup for the first three innings. But starting the fourth, the Dodgers teed off with Reese spanking one to the left center field stands for a home run to tie it up. Miksis lined out to DiMaggio. And then Furillo lined a single to left. And now the count has gone to 3-0 on Jackie Robinson. And we're ready for the 3-0 pitch, and it is inside, ball four, and down to second goes Furillo. That is the first walk given up by Byrne. Furillo goes to second, Robinson to first, and Casey Stengel comes out of the Yankee dugout. To the mound he goes to talk to Byrne and Yogi Berra with Gil Hodges. A power-hitting right-hand hitter coming up, and Luis Olmo on deck. Now, Joe Page goes to work in the bullpen, or is working, a left-hander. And Fred Sanford, a right-hander for New York. Stengel leaves the mound, goes back to the Yankee dugout, which is located to the left of home plate here at Ebbets Field. The Dodgers dugout to the right of home plate. And for the first time in this series, we're getting a lot of action. A lot of action involving runners on and base hits. Furillo's on second. Robinson on first. Only one out. One run in. Last the fourth inning. Score tied 1-1. Hodges fouled out to Barrow in the second inning. Awaits the pitch from Byrne. Here it is. Way outside. Ball one. 1 ball, no strikes. Outfield around toward left. Tommy checks with Yogi. Furillo moves off second. Jackie Robinson off first. Byrne stretches. Has a look at second. Here's the pitch. And it's inside. Ball 2. Curveball. And the streak of wildness that you generally expect from Tommy Byrne, and which did not occur early, as it so frequently does, has suddenly come here in the fourth. Now we're ready for the 2-0 pitch. 2 men on, first and second. Here's the delivery. Outside, ball 3. And Byrne calls Yogi out to talk to him. Yogi just takes a step or two out, though, and doesn't go all the way out. A 3-0 count on Gil Hodges. The man most directly responsible, however, for Byrne's wildness is not Byrne, but Wee Reese, who teed off and hit that ball into the left center field stands, and that got Byrne a little wary. Now the pitch. Over for a called strike, 3-1. In a tight ball game, in an important ball game, when a batter suddenly steps up and parks one on you, then you get a little worried if you're a pitcher that somebody else will. You try to be a little too careful. You try to be careful, and you become a little too careful and miss the corners by either a little or a lot. 3 balls, 1 strike on Gil Hodges. Carl Furillo on second. Jackie Robinson on first. 1 out, 1 in. Last the fourth inning. Tommy Byrne with a stretch, a look at his runners. Here's the pitch. Hodges takes outside. Ball 4, and they're loaded up. Furillo goes to third. Robinson to second. Hodges takes over at first, and the batter is Luis Olmo. Grounded out to Bobby Brown in the second inning. And for the first time in the series, we've got the bases loaded. Now Casey Stengel comes out of the Yankee dugout, walk out to the mound. Casey has his mind made up. I believe he's going to take Byrne out. I'm not certain. He took a look at the bullpen. Says something to Art Passarella. Casey's looking toward the Yankee bullpen. And he walks to the mound. Hendrick's standing there. And I believe Casey's going to have the left-hander, Joe Page, is going to come on. So Casey is not going to play percentage and bring in Sanford, a right-hander, to pitch to the right-handed hitting Olmo. He's going to bring in his ace left-hander, Joe Page. Now, of course, Casey's figuring ahead a little bit. If he had brought in Sanford, then Gene Hermansky might have been sent up there by Bert Schotten. So Joe Page is coming on to pitch to Luis Olmo. And Joe's coming in awful early for him, though he did come in early last Saturday against the Boston Red Sox, a game the Yankees had to win to stay in the pennant fight. And he went 6 2/3 innings that day and pitched 1 hit ball to actually give the Yankees the chance to win that pennant the next day. Tommy Byrne gets a hands, he leaves the mound. And while we await Joe Page's warming up on the hill, we pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Hear the World Series exclusively on WOR 710. See the World Series on WOR TV, Channel 9. WOR and WOR-FM, New York.
Back at Ebbets Field, the Dodgers have the bases loaded. Joe Page is coming in to relieve Tommy Byrne, who went 3 1/3 innings, allowed but 2 hits, both of them in the 4th inning. Walked 2 men, both of them here in the 4th inning. Struck out only 1, and is responsible for the 3 men who are now on base. The score is tied at 1-1. Joe Page calls Yogi Berra out to the mound as he finishes his warm-up tosses to talk to him. And we're set to go. You've got Carl Furillo on third, Jackie Robinson on second, Gil Hodges on first. 1 out. 1 run in on Wee Reese's inning-opening homer. Score tied 1-1, and Luis Olmo, a right-hand hitter up. Joe Page into the windup. In comes the pitch, and it is strike. Call, a fastball through there toward the outside part of the plate between the belt and the knees. They don't play Olmo to pull. They're shading him around toward right, so he's a right-hand batter. Furillo moves up the line from third. Robinson moves off second. Hodges off first. Page comes in with his pitch, and Olmo takes outside for a ball. 1-1. Yogi bluffed a throw down to first, then took a quick look at Furillo as Brown dashed to third. Furillo was playing it safe over there. Fred Sanford continues to limber up in the Yankee bullpen. Luis Olmo the batter. Furillo on third. Robinson on second. Hodges on first. 1 ball, 1 strike on Olmo. Joe Page comes in with a pitch. It is swung on and missed. Strike 2. 1-2 the count. A wicked hook. And here you've got on the hill for the Yankees, one of the most publicized relief pitchers in the history of baseball. And the crowd sensing a dramatic situation. But with the manager of the Yankees wondering whether this is the day that Joe has it or whether he hasn't. Don't always have it, you know. The Yankees hoping he does have, the Dodgers hoping he doesn't have. With a count 1 ball and 2 strikes, Olmo stepped out of the batter's box for a moment. And as he starts back in, Page steps off the rubber. Turns around, has a look into center field. Eyes back on, Olmo back in. Furillo on third, Robinson on second, Hodges on first. The windup, 3 men lead away. The pitch, Olmo swings and lets a high pop-up foul back to first, drifting over into the stands. Henrik leans in, he's got it! And the bases remain loaded. Henrik leaned into the stands and grabbed that ball. Tommy Henrik reached high over the heads of standing patrons in the field boxes back to first base and grabbed that ball for the out. So they're 2 away. And up comes Duke Snider. Bats him left-handed. Fly to left field in the third. And so the battle continues. 3 men on, 2 down. Score tied 1-1. Page into the windup. In comes the pitch. Snider swings and sends a ground ball out toward Coleman. He's up with it. Throws to Henrik, and the inning is over. And Smokey Joe Page once again proved his pitching prowess as a reliever. 1 run, 2 hits for the Dodgers. No Yankee errors, and 3 men left on. And there was one of the most dramatic situations we've had in the World Series so far, with the Dodgers having a golden opportunity to forge way ahead, but stopped cold in that inning by Joe Page. And so at the end of 4 innings of play, it's 1-1. Quick, good-looking, comfortable. Men, that's the kind of shaves you get every time with Gillette Blue Blades. These blades, 5 for a quarter, are so sharp and so perfectly finished, they just glide through wiry whiskers. Every stroke is a caress. Yes, and you enjoy tops and convenience when you buy Gillette Blue Blades in the handy Gillette dispenser. It comes in both 10 and 20 blade sizes for the price of the blades alone. Your 4-inning totals: the visiting Yankees 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 3 left on. The Dodgers 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 3 left on. And so the tempo of the series has begun to pick up considerably from the standpoint of thrills. And as we move now to the top half of the 5th inning of a 1-1 ball game, up is Jerry Coleman, right-hand hitter. Ralph Franco, the right-hander, throws. Coleman takes a strike right in there. Overhand fastball between the belt and the knees. Coleman looked at a third call strike in the 3rd inning. Of course, we had thrills of another kind in the first 2 games. Thrilling pitching, thrilling defensive play. Branca's pitch to Coleman, swung on and missed, strike 2, and Branca overpowered Coleman with a fastball just around the shoulders. Ralph has his jaw set. He's a game competitor. 2-strike count on Jerry Coleman. Score tied 1-1, 5th inning. And now Branca's ready. And his pitch curve is swung on, hit up into the air into center field. Snider out there 100 and makes the catch. Coleman skies out to Snider in center. And with 1 down, up comes Joe Page. Page, a left-hand hitter. Outfield about straight away. Branca's pitch is right over for a called strike. You know, chances are in a regular season game, Casey Stengel might not have lifted Byrne in a spot like that because so many times Byrne has loaded them up and pitched himself out of those jams. The 1-strike delivery in there for called strike 2. But in a World Series, with time so short, managers refuse to take too many chances, especially when they have well-loaded bullpens. Now the 2-strike pitch to Joe Page is swung on and missed, strike 3. As Ralph Branca chalks up his 5th strikeout. Now we go to the top of the Yankee order and pick up Phil Rizzuto, who grounded to 3rd and sent a fly ball into right center in the 3rd inning. That drove in the Yankees' run when previously Mapes had walked, gone to 3rd on Byrne's single, and that set it up for Phil to score the run. The pitch is swung on and fouled off in behind the plate. A 1-strike count. Phil went for a low outside pitch, trying to hit it to right field. So far in this series, there have been a total of 33 strikeouts. Red was busy figuring up the total over there. Branca delivers to Phil high, ball 1, 1-1. Conceivably, this might go down in World Series history as the strikeout series. But we'll wait until that happens, see how far the series goes and all. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's your pitch. Swung on by Phil and fouled off to the right of the plate. And as we followed the flight of the ball, our eye caught Carl Hubble and Mel Ott, who are here. A couple of fair ball players in their day, Red. 1-2 the count on the scooter. They're a couple of the greatest the Giants ever had. Ralph Branca's pitch. Curve is outside. Ball 2, 2-2. The commissioner waves to us, Mrs. Chandler. And seated with the commissioner today is Mr. Joe Spang, Jr., president of the Gillette Safety Razor Company. Here's your pitch to Phil. Curveball high. Ball 3. Man, that was over, but just a little high. So it's a full count on the scooter, 3-2. Branca goes to the rosin bag. Now comes back upon the rubber. Toes it, looks in and gets the sign from Campanella. Into the windup, around comes the right arm. The payoff pitch is swung on. A ground ball hit right to Reese. He scoops it up, flips on over to Hodges in time, and the inning is over. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. And the score at the end of 4 1/2 innings of play, 1-1. And now it's with a great deal of pleasure that I switch this Gillette microphone over to a fella who not only has a good clean shave, but a fellow with whom I always feel privileged to work with. Been broadcasting World Series games since back in 1935. One of the outstanding baseball broadcasting authorities and a nationally famous sports broadcaster in all fields, the old redhead, Red Barber.
Thanks very much, Mel. Good afternoon again, everybody. Joe Page, who not only won some games for the Yankees this past summer, but according to Casey Stengel and pitching coach Jim Turner, saved 25 more, is ready to pitch to Campanella. Does a curve in there for a called strike. He's a big, strapping, 6-foot left-hander and throws that ball hard. He has a strong arm. He has the temperament to relieve. His whole disposition is to come in and choke off a ball club. And he's been tremendous at it. Pitches, has a let-up curve over for a called second strike. Outfield round toward left on Campanella. Roy hitting 8th in the Brooklyn batting order. First up, last to the 5th. She's a 1-1 tie. And another one of these tough grinding ones. Pitch, fast curve low, 1-2. Page, if you haven't seen him pitch, rears up on his toes and gives you a big forward kick. And in addition, he's got a very loose set of hips where he gives you a lot of motion out there. And back of that motion is the idea that there's a strong guy who's going to turn loose that rock. And the hitters, they just don't exactly take a toehold. The rough customer. Delivers 1-2. There's a foul back. Count standing as it was. 1-1 tie. Campanella, then Branca, followed by the top of the order, Reese, who hit Brooklyn's home run in the 4th inning, as Mel told you, way up in left center field. Page kicks, throws, Campanella fouls it off. Still 1-2. Page has control. Jim Turner was telling us that he's about the best he's ever seen at tuning up in a bullpen. He knows just how much to get ready. In other words, says Turner, he doesn't leave a pitch in the bullpen, meaning he doesn't do too much work. And that is quite a trick for a relief man. Page relieved 60 times this summer. Throw, curveball high outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Page wears number 11. Now turns his back on the plate. Stands on the back of the mound. With the bases loaded, 1 out. He came on in the 4th inning and silenced it just like that. 1-2 hitters. Foul ball, nice catch by Henrik. And the ground ball by Snider. Curveball hit slowly down to the right side. Second baseman Coleman over, up for the ball. Throws to first, and that's off Campanella. He's thrown out by 4 or 5 steps. 4-3 if you're scoring. Second to first. 1 up, 1 gone. Last of the 5th inning. And here's pitcher Branca coming out of the Brooklyn bench, making his way up to the plate. Right-hand batter, wearing number 13. After yesterday's game, manager Shotton said that his starting pitcher today would be either Branca or Barney. He'd get Barney down in the bullpen, and he started with Branca. Asked him in the Brooklyn clubhouse a couple of hours before the ball game today, why Branca? Let's see, here's the first pitch to Ralph. High inside, ball 1. He said simply that Branca has been starting the last 3 weeks in turn, has been working regularly, and Barney has not made a start since the Dodgers were last at Chicago. They were at Chicago, St. Louis, then back at Brooklyn, Boston, Philadelphia. 1-0 pitch in there, fastball for a called strike. Branca is not one of the best hitting pitchers in the trade. He struck out, you'll recall, in the 3rd inning. Outfield is not deep and is swung in toward right. Kraft swings, misses. Page just fired that ball down in there. 1-2. Ball game tied, 1-1. Jake Fittler coaching at first. Holler something up to the plate. Milton Stark coaching at third. Page pumping. Now kicks, throws. There's a foul on top of the first base stands. Out of play, 1 and 2. Page balances the ball down his glove, blows in his hand a couple of times. Big left-hander delivers. Curve low inside, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He took something off that ball, trying to make Branca chase it. Of course, I imagine that Branca's big idea up at the plate is to try and make Page pitch as much as possible. Two and 2. Reliever throws, fastball outside, ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. One man gone, nobody on, last of the 5th. Here's another spine tingler. All tied, 1 and 1. So far in the series, these two teams are either exactly tied or just a 1-run differential. Boy, that's cutting it awfully close. Couldn't be any closer. Page delivers 3 and 2. Call strike 3. Fastball. He poured through there, and Ralph took it right off the hands. So this is the first strikeout for Page. Now Reese gets a big hand as he walks up to the plate. The Yankees had 1-0. He caught hold of one of Tommy Byrne's pitches and drilled it 351 feet. That's where it's marked. That's where the ball went in the lower left center field stands. Reese, right-hand hitter. Left-hander Page pitches. Fastball in too close to the hands. Ball 1. Outfield swung around toward left for 2 reasons. 1, Reese pulls in that vicinity. And 3, the wind is blowing that way. Fastball over. It was just above the knees on the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 gone. Page deals. Reese hits curveball foul. 1 and 2. Ball bouncing over to the Yankee bench, and Coach Frankie Crizzetti darts out, takes the ball on the bounce, throws it over to the umpire's ball boy. 1 and 2. Tachibera down his Hodges to give the sign. The hustling young umpire, Art Passarella of the American League staff, crouches down, taking his stance directly behind the receiver. 1 and 2 pitch. Outside. Page took a little off that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 and 2. Things quiet for the moment. Page moves off the rubber, checks his foothold down halfway in the front of the mound. Pitches a curve that Reese just to check his swing on in time. Bella turns around and claims that Pee Wee swung. Pee Wee turned around and claimed he didn't swing, and Pasquale said he didn't swing for me. Now Casey Stengel jumps to the front of the Yankee bench. He doesn't get out of it, but there he stands, a figure of silent protest. Boy, the stage lost a tremendous thespian when it lost Stengel to baseball. He has a very mobile face. So there's that half swing. Boy, an umpire knows that he just 50% wrong anytime he has to compete with that one. 3-2 pitch. Swung on a ground ball right back to the mound. Page picks it up, throws over to first, and Reese is retired very easily. So, nothing across against Joe Page in the last of the 5th. He's come on to face 5 men, and he's gotten them all, and has not had a ball hard hit. So at the end of 5 innings, we'll check our totals. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, identical totals. And so the big crowd looking on. All of the great people in baseball are here. If Mel and I started telling you who we see, well, we just wouldn't have any time for the play-by-play. They're all here. All that you can think. Now for the ball club going on the attack in the 6th inning for the Yankees, Henrik, Berra, and DiMaggio. That's how they'll hit for the Brooklyn Club of Field. Branca on the mound. Campanella back of the plate. Hodges at first. Robinson at second. Reese at short. Eddie Miksis at third base today. In left field, Luis Olmo. Center field, Duke Snider. And the right fielder is called Furillo. The umpires, Art Passarella back of the plate. Jordan at first. Hubbard at second. Riordan at third. Barr in the left field corner. And Hurley in the right field corner. The National League umpires represent 58 years of Major League experience and 13 World Series. The American League umpires represent 26 years of Major League experience and 7 World Series. Tommy Henrik, first up in the 6th, swings and misses at a fastball that Branca threw right down in there. Nothing in 1. All tied 1-1. Henrik grounded out to first baseman Hodges in the first inning and walked in the 3rd. Wind continues blowing from right field to left, from first base to 3rd. There's a fastball low inside. It gets away from Campanella and goes on back to the stands. Nothing more than ball 1. New agate put in play. Frankie Crosetti coaching at 3rd. Bill Dickey coaching at 1st. Henrik chokes that bat about an inch. Leans in, left-hand hitter. Takes an outside curve. It just misses. And it is 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. Tom, of course, is being played to hit into right field. Branca lets out his breath. Now starts pumping. Delivers 2-1. Over for a call, second strike on the outside. That seemed to be the change off the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Henrik, a slightly open stance. Chokes that bat just a shade more right now. 2-2 pitch. Curve swung on, hit out into short right field. Furillo coming in. He's under it. Right fielder takes it. And 1 man is disposed of, beginning matters in the 6th inning. 1-1 tie. And Yogi Berra, who is 0 for 2, struck out in the 1st inning. Hopped up to second baseman Robinson in the 3rd. He's got a little bandaging around his wrist and around the base of the thumb on his left hand. That's the thumb that he broke, if you recall, in August. Still sore and painful. Outfield toward right. Branca's throw, the curveball in there, ball strike. Nothing in 1. 1 out, nobody on. The pitching continues to dominate. Big right-hander's throws. Let a ball swung on, hit sharply to first on 1 bounce. Hodges up, runs over to the bag, and makes the put out unassisted. Berra not getting much more than halfway down the line. So 2 men are gone, and Big DiMaggio stepping in. Even though he struck out twice, you can feel that the sentiment of the fans is all for this great player. Outfield swings around toward left and is back at a most respectful distance. Infield is deep. Reese at short is overshifted very much toward 3rd. Miksis is deep at 3rd. Right-hander Branca pitches. Curveball in for a call strike. DiMaggio struck out in the 2nd and struck out in the 4th, both times swinging. 1-1 ball game. 2 gone. The pitch, fastball swung on. It's a high pop fly that first baseman Hodges is getting under in foul ground. And now it's in fair ground, and he makes the catch. The wind blew the ball back into fair ground, but the first baseman had it, so it is nothing across for the Yankees in the top of the 6th inning. The score, New York 1, Brooklyn 1. Coming out to Ebbets Field this morning, Bob Chipman, pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, told me the Gillette Super Speed Razor is the finest shaving instrument that he's ever used. So, Bob, how about giving the fans the lowdown, will you?
It's always a pleasure to put your friends next to a good thing, and Gillette Super Speed Razor is all of that, believe me.
Convenient, Bob?
Yes, blade changing is a cinch and cleaning is too. More important, you get the slickest shaves in the world.
Men, the new Gillette Super Speed Razor is the greatest shaving bargain ever offered. you get this fine, precision-made Gillette one-piece razor and a 10-blade Gillette dispenser in a modern styrene travel case of big $1.75 value for only $1. Ask for the new Gillette Super Speed razor set at any convenience store. Well, this World Series is getting to be the sort of one that you can't so much as bat your eyelids for fear something might happen. And I imagine you millions of folks listening in, as over 700 radio stations carry this Gillette World Series broadcast to all four corners of the earth. I imagine that it's hard for you to run off any place and miss a batter. Never has there been a series with such tightness of pitching as the series opened up. That is, tightness on both sides. Now we've got Eddie Miksis, first up last of the sixth inning. Left-hander Joe Page delivers, fastball low inside, ball one. The regular third baseman, the bulk of the season for Brooklyn, was Billy Cox, who sprained his ankle in a morning game Labor Day and has not played since. And since that time, Miksis, a right-hand hitter, has alternated with Jorgensen, left-hand hitter, at third. Fastball inside for ball two. 2 balls, no strikes. Jorgensen played the first 2 games, if you recall, started them at the stadium. And Miksis is starting this one. The pitching for the Yankees today has been from the southpaw side. First, Tommy Byrne, now Joe Page. The 2-0 pitch, over for a strike. That's always the big one, because you not only have to get it over, but you've got to get something on it. 2 balls, 1 strike. This is Page's ball game, of course, to win or lose. He works. Fastball swung on a high pop fly into right center field. Mapes is under it. Not a too tough chance for the right fielder. And he's got it. And there again, you could trace the force of the wind. Mapes must have drifted under that ball 5 more steps toward center field as the wind made the ball dance. So put out for the right fielder. 1 up, 1 away. Last of the 6th inning. 1-1 tie. And Carl Furillo, who is 1 for 2, singled off Byrne in the 4th inning after flying out to center field in the 1st. Now Fioran toward left. Crowd watching tensely as this grim struggle continues. Left-hander Page pitches a curve outside the right-hand hitter Carl Furillo. 1-0. Yankees afield. Page relieving. Came on in the 4th inning with the bases loaded and 1 out, and stopped the Dodgers right in their tracks. Kept the ball game then as it was and as it is now. 1-1. Barra catching his 2nd game. Silvera caught yesterday back at the plate. Henrik at first base. The second, Jerry Coleman at shortstop, Rizzuto. And today at third, it is Bobby Brown for the Yankees. The 1-0 pitch to Furillo. Swung on, bounced straight to second baseman Coleman, who's up with it on a big bounce, throws over to first base, and that's all for Furillo, who's retired before he's more than halfway down the line. So 2 are gone. Page has allowed no man to reach base safely. And Jackie Robinson, who is 0 for 1, popped to second base in the 2nd inning, walked against Byrne in the 4th. Now steps in. Robinson, who yesterday doubled and was scored a single by Hodges for the only run in that game. Yankee outfield, Gene Woodling is in left. DiMaggio remains in center, and the right fielder is Cliff Mapes. 2 gone. Robinson leans in. He's deep back from the plate. Let-up ball is high outside. Ball 1. Ball game an hour and a half old. The skies remain threatening and dark, but so far we have not had so much as a wisp of rain. The weatherman said that it would be ominous, overcast, cloudy, but that it would not rain. Also, he predicted that the weather would be clearing for tomorrow. Let's hope so. Throw. High outside for ball 2. Two balls, no strikes. All eyes focused right now at the heart of the diamond. Left-hander Page. The batter, right-hand hitter Robinson. The pitch. Low inside for ball 3. That was a fastball. I think Page expected Robinson to be swinging on that because he was trying to pitch him in close to the hand, which is the way that a lot of left-handed pitchers have been pitching Robinson for a couple of years. 3-0. Joe said, like a new baseball, so plate umpire Pastorella accommodates him. Page taking his time, getting ready. 1-1 ball game, nobody on, 2 out. 3-0 pitch is ball 4, and without throwing Robinson a strike, he walks him. So this is the second time the Jack has walked. First walk given up by Page, and this is the first man of 8 to face Page to get on against him. And Gil Hodges, who fouled out to catch a barrel in the second inning, and drew a base on balls off Byrne. He was the last man that Byrne pitched to in the fourth. Hodges, who's 0 for 1, steps in. Drove in the run yesterday, Actually, you speak of runs so far in this series as the run of the first game and the run of the second game. Well, each ball club has a run today. Robinson off first. Hodges swings a high fly ball straight out to DiMaggio in center. Joe's waiting for it. He makes the catch. You didn't think he'd do otherwise, did you? So, we have no runs, no hits, 1 man left in that 6th inning. Now let's check our 6-inning totals. Still 1 run, 2 hits and no errors. There's identical totals. Now, before we move into the 7th inning, and as the Yankee fans here at Brooklyn begin standing for a stretch, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Hear the World Series exclusively on WOR 710. See the World Series on WOR TV, Channel 9. WOR and WOR FM, New York.
Speaking a moment ago about the fine job that Joe Page has done, it sets your mind to thinking of great relief pitchers. Page's predecessor as a great relief man, Johnny Murphy, is sitting over there alongside the Yankee dugout. And then you think of other relief pitchers, Hugh Casey, who is with the Yankees now, but did his greatest relief work with Brooklyn. And then you go back to Fred Marbury, who was a great right-handed relief pitcher. And, of course, everybody was extremely sorry that he had lost an arm in an automobile accident down in Mexico, Texas. And, of course, everybody's pulling for him to soon be out of the hospital. And if he's listening, we hope it's good listening. Now we have Bobby Brown, first up in the 7th inning. Good left-hand batter. Chokes that bat a couple of inches, swings and hits a hot one on 1 bounce to second baseman Robinson, who throws it over to first, and that's all for Brown. So 1 up, 1 pitch, and 1 away as this tough ball game gets tougher. All tied at 1-1. The last base hit for the Yankees was a double by Gene Woodling off the lower part of the right field scoreboard. Outfield toward right. Big Branca throws. Fastball on the outside. No balls, 1 strike. 0-1. The last man to get on against Branca was this self-same Woodling, who's up here now. With 1 away, nobody on the 7th. 1-1 ball game. Everything tied, including 1-1 for games. There's a curve low inside. Ball 1. Frankie Crosetti, with that high piping voice which can easily be heard, is busily hauling encouragement from his coaching post at third up to Woodling, who's in the crouch, feet close together, left-hand hitter. Swings, fouls it off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Woodling had a chance with Cleveland some years ago, and then was up in the National League with Pittsburgh and didn't hit. Went out to the Pacific Coast League, changed his stance. Lefty O'Doul helped him a lot. And he led the Coast League last year, and he's been a very helpful fellow to have around the Yankee ball club this year. 1-2 pitch is swung on. There's a high fly ball into straightaway center. Snider backs up 1-2 steps, waits for the ball, and makes the catch in center field. So Branca has now retired the batting order, the last 9. Cliff Mapes, who bounced out in the 4th inning. But more important, Mapes, who walked in the 3rd, and that was the first walk drawn by a Yankee so far in the series, and that was turned into New York's run. Mapes, a left-hand hitter. Mapes walked, opened up the third inning, and with one out, went around to third base as pitcher Byrne delivered a hit-and-run single. Mapes swings, foul ball, back out of play. And as Mel pointed out to you in the third, that was a very vital point, that base hit by Tommy Byrne. And not only that, but Mapes had gotten a tremendous jump on Branca. He was really off. He just went into third base standing up. Throw, curveball low inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1. Everybody is very serious-visaged in this ball game. Nobody grinning. 1-1 pitch, swung on, tipped, and it is strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out. The consistency of the way the pressure has carried through all these games, unbelievably identical. One and two the count. Throw. Fastball just missing inside. Oh, that's close. So close, in fact, that plate umpire Passarella just held his thumb and his right index finger just to show that that ball just did miss. Missed off the inside. Right-hand pitcher, left-hand hitter. Mapes fairly well back from the plate, swinging from the end. Outfield toward right. 2-2 pitch. Swung on a high fly ball into center field. Snider comes in, now goes back. He's under it. Center fielder under it. He's got it. Goes hit high and far. Had the wind been the reverse of what it is today, that might have been all the way. So, with a roar, the Brooklyn denizens now come to their feet as they move into the last of the 7th inning, and the score stands New York 1 and Brooklyn 1. Bobby Chipman of the Chicago Cubs said a mouthful when he told you that the new Gillette Super Speed razor tops them all for shaving ease and convenience. Fans, this razor changes blades instantly, glides through whiskers as gently as a breeze, and rinses clean in a jiffy. Twist, it opens. Zip, it's loaded. Twist again, and you're ready for the best-looking, most refreshing shaves ever. There's nothing to take apart or put together. Nothing to jam or clog. Nothing to waste your time or try your patience. So take it from me, it's a beauty and a bargain. You get it, plus a Gillette dispenser holding 10 factory-sharp Gillette blue blades in a serviceable styrene travel case, a big $1.75 value for $1. Ask for the new Gillette Super Speed razor set at any store and see what real shaving comfort and convenience are like. Now the last half of the 7th inning. Luis Olmo, Duke Snider, Roy Campanella. Any one of the three on safely, then pitcher Branca will hit. A 1-1 dogfall. Joe Page, who is the key man now for the Yankees as this game comes down with grim tenacity with so few runs in it. Page standing on the mound. Barrow settling down to give the sign. Olmo, who stands deep back in the box. Right-hand hitter, an overly closed stance. Bounced out third to first against Byrne in the 2nd inning, and against Page was the biggest out of the ball game in the 4th. Swings, and there's a high foul ball that catcher Barrow is under. Getting under, and makes the catch no more than 15 feet behind home plate. So 1 up and 1 away as Page continues moving through the Brooklyn batters as that Gillette blue blade mows through your whiskers. Now we've got Duke Snider, who's off the 2. Left-hand hitter. Throw, swung on, a high foul ball on top of the third base stands, out of play and out of the park. The ball's 1 strike. With the wind blowing out toward left field as strongly as it is, that's the way it is blown all afternoon. And with Page probably pitching outside consistently to Snider, the outfield is back into left, especially DiMaggio. Duke swings and pulls the ball wide at first base. Henrik up with it, runs over to the bag and makes the put out but 2 steps. So the play handled by Tommy Henrik unassistedly, and 2 men are gone, last of the 7th. Roy Campanella 0 for 2 stepping in. The Brooklyn Road Secretary, Harold Parrott, just brought us the attendance figures with the money figures with it. $32,788 paid, which means $164,016. That is Roy Campanella. Swings, hits a high fly ball deep in the left center field. There's a left fielder whittling under the ball, close to the wall, and makes the catch 350 feet away, and the wall is 351. So nothing across in the last of the 7. 2 runs important. Only 4 runs so far in the 3 games. The first 2, 1-0. First one by the Yankees, the second one by the Dodgers. And now each team has a run as we move into the 8th inning of this 3rd game, with games tied at 1-1. In the 8th inning for the Yankees, it's second baseman Coleman, who is batting 8th, first up, followed by Joe Page. You know he'll hit for himself. And then by the top of the order, Rizzuto. When the Dodgers come in for the last of the 8th, it will be pitcher Branca leading off, then the top of the order, Reese and Miksis. And Ralph is just getting out to the mound right now. There's Campanella coming up to the plate. And let's open up that other microphone for Mel Allen and get his observations. Mel, did you ever think you'd see such pitching, especially in the clutch when it meant so much?
Never did. As a matter of fact, in the press room before the ball game got underway, I was talking to Dan Daniel, who erudite sports reporter for the World Telegram, been following baseball for longer maybe than Red and I, our ages together. He said he didn't know what in the world all of a sudden happened. He said they're blossomed forth here. The Mathesons, the McGinnitys, and the greats all over again. He said something that no one ever expected. And that's just the way it's been. And looks like as if that's the way it's going to still be, Red.
Well, that's the way it is right now. All tied 1-1 as we move into the 8th inning. And here is the right-hand hitting second baseman of New York, Jerry Coleman, first up. Branca's fastball is over, but too high. Ball 1. Also, the weather conditions have befriended all pitches. Weather conditions, as well as the fact that the batter screen was taken down in center field at the stadium for the first 2 days. Throw, curveball over. It has been dark this afternoon, and of course that sets up a pitcher's fastball. The darker it gets, the more of a disadvantage the hitters are. And then at the stadium the first 2 days, the hitters were having to look against that white baseball, against all the white shirts in the center field bleacher section. Batting screen was down. 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Short curveball. Oh, make no mistake about it. The pitching staffs that had come through such a Kilkenny struggle to win pennants were braced. We're all set. One ball, 2 strikes. Coleman choking well up on that bat. Oh, about 3-4 inches. Fastball low inside, just under the hands. 2-2. Franker and Page, even when they give the hitter a ball, are close to the plate. Coleman, with his feet pretty well back from the plate, leans in. Press it from the waist. Outfield, step toward left. Pitch. Fastball right over. Call strike 3. And Coleman was just immobilized. There it was. He just couldn't move. You could just see him straining to try and break loose, and he couldn't. That's 6 strikeouts for Branca. By the way, Branca's concerned in all the strikeouts of the game. He's the only Dodger to be struck out. He's been struck out twice. He struck out 6 himself. And pitcher Page stepping in. He's been up once this afternoon and struck out. He's at bat in the 5th inning. Left-hand batter. Outfield toward right. Branca throws. Fastball in under the hands. Ball 1. 1 away. Top of the 8th inning. All tied 1-1. Campanella's throw back to Branca got loose in the pitcher. Reese retrieves the ball at short. Page, who came in out of that bullpen for New York just 60 times this past summer. Throw. Swung on, foul back. The Yankees figure that Page and his performance on Saturday. As he came on, if you'll recall, and pitched 6 1/3 innings, held the Red Sox to no runs and 1 scratch hit. The fact that he was able to finish set up everything for New York. In other words, he pitched them to the win. 1-1 delivery, curve swung on, hit back to the middle. Reese going over, up, juggles the ball, recovers, throws over to first, in time for the out, and Page is out on a bang-banger at first base. Reese had the ball, bounced up and hit him in the chest. He recovered, threw over to first to Hodges, and Hodges, like a ballet dancer, made that split as he moved his whole body out in to greet the ball, and Page is out. Boy, he was straining, hustling down that line. Oh, Reese recovering. Another one of the close plays. Those are the things that give umpires nightmares when you get those bang-bangers. We had 4 in the ball game yesterday. So 2 men up and 2 gone, top of the 8th. Passarella back of the plate. He had 2 like that at first yesterday. Passarella snaps on his mask. Rizzuto, 0 for 3. For the right-hand hitting shortstop. Swings on the fastball and pops it up into short left field. Reese going back from short, waving Olmo out of the way, and Pee Wee makes the catch. So the Yankees are retired. Heading across in the top of the 8th inning, as Branca has set the side down in order now for the last 4 rounds. And with Brooklyn coming in for the last of the 8th, the score remains New York 1, Brooklyn 1. It goes without saying that every man who values personal appearance and comfort wants to get the best-looking, most refreshing shaves he can. To do that and save money as well, use Gillette Blue Blades, 5 for $1. They have the easiest shaving and longest-lasting edges ever put on steel. Also, they fit your Gillette razor to a T and protect you from the discomfort caused by misfit blades. Now, for extra convenience, buy Gillette Blue Blades in the handy Gillette dispenser that zips them out unwrapped. With it, you change blades in a jiffy, save time, save fuss. Also, the blades are perfectly protected. Stay factory sharp until used. You get 20 blades, 40 shaving edges for 98 cents. 10 blades for 49 cents. Look sharp, feel sharp, be sharp. Use Gillette Blue Blades with the sharpest edges ever honed. The Brooklyn Dodger knock him down and drag him out the back hall. Razzmatazz Symphony Orchestra that plays here throughout the summers just came over and gave a salute to our only living ex-president, Herbert Hoover. Not a baseball fan. Now we're moving to the last of the 8th inning, and the 2 key figures of the ball game face each other, Page on the mound and Branca, who is the batter. It's a tough one, 1-1. Apparently nothing for the big stakes in Major League Ball in 1949 is to come easily. Pennis didn't. The World Series is not going that way. Branca swings, fouls Page's first pitch back for a called strike. Page, since he has come on, has pitched 3 2/3 innings, retired every batter but one. Robinson, whom he walked with 2 out in the 6th inning. Got the next man promptly. Branca has gone all the way. Given up 1 run, 2 hits. Those are the identical totals anyhow. 1-1 tie. Pitch. Fastball ripped in there for a called second strike. Branca has retired the last 13 batters that he's pitched to them. That's the 13 that he's wearing. Those of you who are not keeping score, and backtrack on him. Outfield into right and not deep. Infield straight away. Throw. Curveball just hanging outside. 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It continues to be a dark afternoon, but the park is brilliantly illuminated by the pitching that we are having. It has lighted up the entire series. No series has ever begun with as much pitching efficiency as this one. 1-2 pitch. Curve in there, call strike 3. So, Branca continues to be involved in all of the game's strikeouts. He struck out once against Byrne for Byrne's only strikeout, twice against Page for Page's only strikeouts, and Branca himself has struck out 6 of the Yankees. Wee Reese who hit a home run in the 4th inning to get the ball game balanced, as it still is, 1-1. Reese stepping in. His home run that balanced the game unbalanced Byrne. His control almost went out the window immediately, as Mel told you. Had to be lifted 4 hitters later. Outfield toward left. Page delivers. Fastball low inside. Threw that one hard. He meant to throw it hard. He always means to throw that ball hard. Page, who was the glue man, he just held that Yankee staff together all summer. Works inside against the hands. Took a little bit off the fastball. Then ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. The wind continues blowing out toward left field. It is a wind that helps a right-hand batter who hits a high drive out toward left. One gone. Last of the 8th. Everything almost deathly quiet for the moment. 2-0 pitch. In there. Fastball for a called strike. Big guy's working. 2 balls, 1 strike. Reese waiting. Trim, square-shouldered figure. Been the shortstop for the Dodgers since 1940. Fellow whose job he took at shortstop is sitting over there with his boss. That's Leo DeRocha now, the manager of the Giants, sitting over there with Horace Stoneham. 2 balls, 1 strike. Reese takes a curve. It just stays outside for ball 3. Now Barra turns around and apparently kicks on that decision to Passarella, and Passarella promptly shakes his head. No. The umpires are under tremendous pressure. They do a tremendous job. 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. In under the hands. Fastball that missed. And Reese walked. This is the second walk given up by Joe Page. Now Eddie Miksis walking up to the plate. A right-hand, light-hitting utility infielder for the Dodgers. Playing third base today. Reese at first. An alert base runner. Page, who of course has a good move to hold a man on at first, sets on the mound. Henrik takes the bag. Now let's see what happens. She's all tied, 1-1. 1 out. Infield and double play depth. Throw to first. Out in time. Pitler, coaching at first, let out an agonized scream when he saw that Page was coming over to first base, but Reese was back. Outfielder Mapes in right is in very, very close. Of course, he's got that wind behind him, blowing in. Miksis is primarily a left field hitter anyhow. Third baseman Brown just stepped inside the bag. Here's the pitch, and Miksis sets the bunt, takes a curve over. There's a throw down to first base, and Reese just does slide back. It was close. That Barrow fouled that ball, both these catches today. Barrow from New York, who just threw, and Campanella of Brooklyn. They'll throw. So there was a curveball in, and Miksis was set to butt, then drew his bat back out of the way. The curve was over for a called strike. Now, whether he was bluffing to try and set up something, or just to annoy the Yankee infield, or whether he was serious, remains to be seen. Reese taking his lead off first. Page delivers a pitch out, but Pee Wee isn't going, so it is ball 1. The Yankees, of course, could afford to have Page come down deliberately outside with a fastball, hoping that the Dodgers were running. Now the count is 1-1. The score is 1-1. The games in the series up to this one are 1-1. Last to the 8th inning. Page looking down. Draws his eyes now until they're practically slits. Looks at first, pitches, fastball swung on, hit wide of third into left field for a base hit. Reese comes around second base and holds on ahead of Woodling's arm. So it's a single for Miksis through between third and short. Dodgers are first and second. hit number 3 for Brooklyn, hit number 5 in the ball game. So that's the first base hit off Page, and now Page is in a jam of his own making. A base on balls with 1 out to Reese and a single to Miksis. It may be that Miksis, in bluffing that bunt, tightened the Yankee infield up even closer. At any rate, he had it up so close that ball just skipped nimbly through between third baseman Brown and shortstop Rizzuto. Now manager Stengel hollers for time. Gets Page's attention and Tommy Henrich's attention. He wants Henrich to play back. The Yankee infield now is still in double play depth. The batter is called Furillo. The outfield is a little around toward left. Furillo is 1 for 3, right-hand batter. Can't run fast because of the groin injury. 1 out. Furillo swings a high fly ball into right center field. Mapes going back to right field under it. Reese tagging up at second. There's the catch, and Pee Wee bluffs toward third but holds on, and the throw goes beautifully and perfectly over to third base, cut off by shortstop Rizzuto. Mapes has a fine throwing arm. He saved the Yankees some games by throwing men out at home plate in the pennant race. So that's the big second out. And the league's leading batter, Jackie Robinson, walking up. Page set, delivers. Robinson swings, hits the ball right out to DiMaggio in center field, and there's the catch of the line drive for out number 3. And so Page comes down and settles his own threat in the last half of the 8th inning. So at the end of 8, 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors for the Yankees. 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers.
Hear the World Series exclusively on WOR 710. See the World Series on WOR TV, Channel 9. WOR and WOR FM, New York.
Here we go into the 9th inning, and Tommy Henrich is first up. Ball game leveled at 1-1. Branca, right hand, Henrich swings a ground ball that Robinson picks up, throws over the first, in time for the out. And that's a great roll off. A great roll off for a fine play. Second baseman Robinson running along the edge of the right field grass toward first base. Leaned down toward his glove hand side, came up with what looked like a certain base hit into right field for Henrich, and threw over to Hodges. So it is 1 up and 1 gone. Now the batter is Yogi Berra. This ball game is now being played on the same terms and conditions as though it were already in extra innings. Berra, left-hand hitter, crowds the plate from behind. Chunky, strong, picks a let-up curveball down by his knees. Ball 1. 1 away. 1-1 tie. Who would have thought that this third game could continue such a pitiless pressure following the pattern of the first 2? Pitch, fastball in at the knees, 4-2. 2 balls, no strikes. Branca turns his back on the plate, walks to the rear of the mound. Reese at short. Walks partway in, says something to him. Barrow ready to swing. That's his stock in trade. He'll swing at anything if he takes a notion. Brushed off very quickly by Art Passarella. Two and two. That's the ball and strike count. 1 out. Berra swinging that stick menacingly back and forth. Pulled it from the end. 2-2 pitch. Curveball. High outside. Didn't cut down and in. So it is now a full count of 3-2. Ball game is just 2 hours old. Just had 2 runs in it. Each side is one of them. Branca shakes no. Now starts pumping. Delivers 3-2. There's a solid foul outside first base. Down into the right field corner. Ed Hurley down there retrieves the ball, throws it out. Commissioner Chandler, several years ago, took the alternate umpires out of the stands and put them down in the foul corners, which is a very fine contribution. Sometimes balls hit right down in those corners are extremely difficult to judge. Also, that gives umpires out in the outfield a better angle on balls that either caught or trapped. Now, 3-2 pitch again. Curve low inside. Back to the stands. Yogi goes down to first base. Campanella comes back, retrieves the ball, and Byrne stops at first. So, that is just ball 4. Had Byrne been able to advance any farther, then it would have been a wild pitch at it. It was a curve ball down low and into the dirt. So with one out, Byrne reaches first. Base on balls, which is the third walk given up by Branca today. It's the third walk in 3 games given up by the Brooklyn Mound staff. Clyde Sukforth, the pitching emissary of manager Shotton, goes trotting out to the mound. Suk is in uniform. And under baseball rules, which are never relaxed, only men in umpires' uniforms or players or coaches or managers in baseball suits are allowed to be out on the playing field. Unless in an emergency, they have to call for groundkeeper. In other words, a manager who is in street clothes has to stay in the dugout. And Shotton does not wear a baseball suit. Sukforth goes out to discuss matters with Branca. Joe Hatton, the left-hander, gets up in the Brooklyn bullpen. The second time he was up. He was throwing there in the 3rd inning, as Mel told you. Now Joe DiMaggio at the plate, 0 for 3 today. Outfield deep, round toward left, 1-1 tie. Byrne at first, 1 out. The pitch to DiMaggio, fastball high and outside, 4-1. DiMaggio looks down to third base coach Grizzetti to get the sign as to how manager Stengel wants this one played. DiMaggio swinging from the end, feet wide apart. The Clipper, set picture, swings as a foul ball on top of the right field stands, and it's 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maggio's foul up there on the right field stand stirred up 3, 6, half a dozen pigeons. One and one. Branca checks first pitches, a curve low and away. Campanella down and to his right to hold the ball up. And it's 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. All tied, 1-1. Well, we got all the ball game today anybody could ask for. Big right-hander. Checks first, delivers. Strike, swinging the fastball high in by the hand. Maggio really took a rip. Unbuttoned his shirt swinging on that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bauer, not too swift a runner. Leading down at first. Hodges, the first baseman. In and out at the bag with him. Now he's off the bag. The 2-2 pitch to DiMaggio. A high pop foul up by third. Miksis is under it, close to the stands. He's got it. So for DiMaggio, it must be a very discouraging series. Big guy, of course, is not strong. He's been sick. He's had a terrible year. The fates have really bitten at him. But he's had only 1 hit in the series, and that was a dribbler up toward third. Today, he struck out twice, popped up to the first baseman, fouled out to the third second. Now Bobby Brown, who was a record-breaking pinch hitter back in the 47 series. Left-hand batter, choking that bat. He's a tough hitter. Branca set on the mound, delivers. Brown swings and has a ground foul halfway off toward third. He was trying to check his swing, trying not to swing. 4 balls, 1 strike. 2 teams are really locked. A run apiece today and a game apiece up to here. Berra ready to cut and go. 2 out at first. The pitch. Fastball swung on, hit into right field for a base knock. Berra going around second base and holds on. Furillo is known to have a rifle for an arm. The throw goes all the way to third base. So Brown singles, which is the 3rd hit for the Yankees, and the totals are again even at a run, 3 hits, and no errors. So Yankees are at first and second as the Yankees come on with a threat here in the 9th inning. A sharp single to right, drilled through between first baseman Hodges, second baseman Robinson. And the batter now is Gene Woodling, who is 1 for 3. This is his only appearance in the series. Double to right in the 4th inning. There'd been no hit off Branca since Woodling's double. Left-hand batter, feet close together, steps toward first base in his stride, and is in quite a crouch, swinging from the end. Branca's pitch swung on, foul back. There was a high outside curve that Woodling went for. No balls, 1 strike. Brown, the runner at first. Barra, who is the key runner, is down at second. She's a 1-1 tie. Woodling crouch. Branca stands erect, stops, pitches, fastball just in at the knees. Ball 1, strike 1. Things grow quiet now for the second. Branca prepares for his next delivery, rubs up the ball, now puts his glove back on. Checks second base, stops, pitches, inside at the knees again for ball 2, another fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike. Woodling looking down to Crizzetti. See what the orders are. The orders are going out pitch by pitch. Reese comes in from short, takes the ball from Branca. And the shortstop, slipping his glove, is busily rubbing up that ball. Meanwhile, Pee-wee talking to Ralph. Now the Brooklyn captain goes back to his shortstop post. 2 balls, 1 strike. Barra leading down off second. Crizzetti continually reminding him, 2 men out, run on anything. The ball is ordered brought into plate umpire Pastorella for an inspection after Reese had rubbed it up. It's found to be serviceable. Left in play. All right, 2-1 is the count. Branca shaking no. Campanella stays low back at the plate. The 2-1 pitch. A fastball just misses low inside for ball 3. And the way Woodling backed from that ball, Casey Stengel had ordered him to take it no matter where it was. Now it's 3-1. And Woodling checks for orders again. Crizzetti looked into Stengel and then gave a bunch of signs. One good one and the rest the hocus pocus for the decoy. All right, count is 3-1. Branca deals. Call strike 2. Fastball on the outside, and Woodling, who had taken a step up toward first, is recalled by the plate umpire's decision, and Bellows for the moment. Crizzetti hollers something from back of third. So it's an automatic run and hit. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Men at first and second. Well, I guess you'd say this is the biggest pitch so far, wouldn't you? Game standing 1-1. Let's see what goes. Branca ready. Right-handed pitches. The runners break. It's ball 4. And Campanella had all he could do to keep that ball from going back to the stands. So the bases are loaded. Branca turned the fastball loose down across the shins. So the bases are now filled. First time the Yankees have had the bases loaded in the series. A walk, a single, and a base on ball. This is 4 walks given up by Branca. Cliff Mapes, the left-hand hitting right fielder, is waiting to bat next. And there is Clyde Sukeforth, one of the Brooklyn coaches, going out to the mound now to talk to Branca. Robinson has come in from second base. Captain Reese from short. Catcher Campanella is out there. Right-handed Jack Bada is up throwing in the Brooklyn bullpen, along with Hatton. Hatton's been throwing a long time. Suki looking down to the bullpen, but he's taken Branca off to one side and is talking to him. And apparently it looks as though Sukeforth is talking with Branca to give Branca a chance to say whether he thinks he can go on or not. And they're going with Branca. So the coach back into the bench. Branca now stands on the mound, a lone, solitary key figure. Reese has gone back to short. Robinson to second, and Campanella settled down behind the plate. And Mapes, the 6-foot left-hand hitting right fielder. Wait a minute. And Mapes is going to be called back from the plate, and Johnny Mize is going to pinch hit. Mize, the former Cardinal, the former Giant who was sold from the Giants, late in the summer, but in time to be eligible for the series to the Yankees. Myers, who pinch hit a single yesterday in the right field, is coming on to pinch hit for Mapes. Well, Myers is no stranger to Branca. They've had many a brush. So Johnny Mize is coming on to pinch hit, and going down to the Yankee bullpen to get ready to go into the outfield is Hank Bauer. So Mize, who is 1 for 1, a pinch hit single yesterday, coming up to the plate. Shortly after he was sold to the Yankees by the Giants, he hurt his shoulder. He's available for hitting duty, but can't play at first. So here's the big fella, Johnny Mize, stepping in, hitting for the right fielder in the 9th inning. 3 men are on. It's a 1-1 ball game. Don't go away. Outfield deep, round toward right. Branca pitches, and Mize takes a fastball in by the belt buckle for ball 1. There's Casey Stengel, sort of leading a little weaving, sinuous dance down there in the Yankee bench. Branca pumps, delivers. Mize takes a fastball in for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mize is a big guy. When he's over the Giants, they call him the Big Cat. And he swings that heavy bat as though it weighed no more than a dry turkey feather. Okay, 3 men on. 1-1 ball and strike count. Branca pumps, 2 out. The pitch is the fastball outside, 4 ball 2. 2-1. Stengel had Mapes up there at the plate, and he was not going to reveal his hand until he saw whether manager Schotten was going to take Branca out or not. But when it was apparent that Branca was to remain pitching, then he called Mapes back and put Big Mize up there where he now is. Well, she's tied 1-1. Hold on to your hats. 3 runners take their leads. The 2-1 pitch swung on. It's belted out toward right field. It's a base hit. It's up against the screen. In comes 1 run. In comes 2 runs. And it's a long single to get in 2 runs. And Myers is 2 for 2 as a pinch hitter, and the Yankees lead 3-1. So Big Mize delivers. He's set up there, and he hit one about 25 feet off the ground against the wire screen. And Bauer goes down to first base to run for him, and Mize gets a tremendous hand as he goes off the field. And the Yankee fans are deliriously delighted. And there is Coach Clyde Sukeport calling for time and going out to the mound. This may be all for Branca. It's 3-1 in favor of the Yankees. Bauer has been announced. He's the pinch runner at first base. And they're going to bring Joe Hatton. Is it Hatton or Batter? Just a moment. It is Jack Batter they want, not the left-hander after all. Jack Batter, who didn't get very much time to throw. So Batter is coming on, and Johnny Mize, an old National Leaguer, returns to the scene where he's hit many a base hit here at Brooklyn and promptly hits a solid, high pinch hit single and gets in 2 runs. 3-1 favor the Yankees. First time that any team has scored in 1 inning more than 1 run. And the Yankees now in the 9th inning lead 3-1. And with Joe Page on the mound, Casey Stengel is sitting over there, just got a smile on there as big as a full slice of a watermelon. Branca gets a hand as he leaves the mound. Branca goes out after 8 2/3 innings. He got all but the final out. And the first 2 runs for the Yankees were put on by bases on balls. Branca retired 14 men straight, and with 1 out in the 9th inning after retiring Henrik for his 14th consecutive out, he walked Berra, and that proved to be the undoing. After DiMaggio fouled out to third, and with Branca trying to get the 3rd out of the 9th inning, Brown laid in with a solid single to right field. And then came the base on balls to Gene Woodling to load them up. The pinch hit single by Johnny Mize, who is now sitting comfortably back there in the Yankee bench. And Jack Batter, tall, lean right-hander, out on the mound, relieving for Brooklyn. It's the first time that a Dodger starter failed to finish. Franker going to within 1 out. So it is 3-1 in favor of the Yankees. 3-1. On that base hit, Woodling went around to third base, of course. Mize is a very ponderous runner. That's why he was held at first. A faster man might have made it a double. So we have Yankees at first and third. Bauer on at first base. Batter on the mound. Second baseman Jerry Coleman steps in. Right-hand hitter in a crouch. Outfield toward left. Batter throws. Fastball is bunted foul. There was a bid for a base hit, surprise measure. Foul ball, strike one. Bauer at first is ready to go on anything. He'll go out and play right field for the latter half of the ninth inning. Woodling over at third. Of course, he's ready to set sail. Outfield toward left. Coleman 0 for 3, leaning in, choking that bat. Batter checks first. The right-hander pitches. Fastball in for a called second strike. Nothing in 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Big Johnny Mize, while he'd been on some great St. Louis teams and been over there with the Giants, never got into a World Series until this fall. And he's already more than repaid the Yankees for whatever they paid for him when they got him from the Giants. This base hit now just did that. Throw. There goes Bauer. There's a line drive hit in the center field. Of the Yankee 4 runs, 3 of them got on with bases on balls. Now we have some action down in the Yankee bullpen. Fred Sanford, right-hander, begins throwing because this is a long inning. A fastball outside, ball 2. Correction, that is not Sanford, that is Allie Reynolds who is now throwing. Sanford was throwing earlier, and it is Reynolds, the pitching hero of the first game. Strong right-hander, working in the bullpen now for New York to get ready in the event that Page needs any trouble in nailing down this 4-1 ball game in the ninth inning. Batter checks first, pitches. Page swings and slices it foul in the lower third base stand. 2-1. We'd like to repeat what we said. Of the 4 Yankee runs, 3 were scored by men who got on with walks. 2 here in the ninth inning and 1 in the third. And that's quite a story, inasmuch as there were no walks given to the Yankees in the first 2 games. Page swings and fouls this one back, and there was a hit-and-run play on that one because Coleman, the runner from first, was headed toward the still vacant second base. The Yankees have exploded here in the ninth inning. Franco opened the door with 1 out, a walk to Barrow, then with 2 out, a single to Brown, a base on balls to Woodling, loaded it up, a pinch hit single by Johnny Mize, knocks in 2, and Coleman has just singled sharply off relief pitcher Jack Batter. Joe Page up there, it's his ball game to win. All these runs belong to him. 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3, and Page strikes out. So 8 men batted in the top of the ninth inning. 3 of them scored on 3 base hits. So the Yankees now lead 4-1. It's the first time that any team has been more than 1 run away from the opposition. And Page, who has pitched with phenomenal efficiency, came on in the 4th inning with the bases loaded. That's when the Dodgers had their big chance. They had the bases loaded. The ball game was then 1-1. And Page got Olmo on a foul ball to Henrik, who caught the ball leaning against the first row spectators alongside the stands at first base. And then he got Snider on a ground ball second to first. Allie Reynolds continues toiling way down in the left field corner for the Yankees. Bauer goes out to right field, of course. He took over for Mize, who had pinch hit for right fielder Mapes. Now in the last of the ninth, Page will be called on to pitch to Hodges, Olmo, and Snider.
Hank Bauer now playing right field.
That's the announcement on Bauer. Big left-hander, Joe Page, all set.
Attention, please.
Gil Hodges stepping in.
No one will be permitted on
New
the
York
playing
4,
field
Brooklyn 1.
at the end of the game.
Barrow settling down to give the sign.
Leads to the street.
Page in no hurry. Shuffled a little dirt out there on the mound with his spikes. Outfield round toward left. The wind continues blowing into left field. Page pumps, kicks, twists, throws, and Hodges, bunting, fouls the ball off. He was bunting for a base hit, figured that was about the last thing the Yankees would expect of him. Allie Reynolds, who allowed no runs and won the first game, along with Henrik's home run, 1-0, continues throwing down the bullpen, being warmed up by Charlie Silvera. He's the insurance if they need him. Page works. There's a ground ball hit sharply down to second. Coleman up with it cleanly. Throws over to first, and Hodges was easily out by about 3 steps. 1 up and 1 gone. Last half of the 9th inning. Luis Olmo, who is 0 for 3, has not gotten the ball out of the infield. And I would say that Page is out of Olmo with the bases loaded and 1 man retired. Up until that situation in the 4th inning was the key out of the ball game. Now Page works, almost swings, drills the ball back into left field. It's going a long way back. It is in for a home run. And it is now 4-2. Now Olmo running his home run home. Steps on home plate, and it's a 4-2 ball game. He hit a curveball and drilled it well back in the straightaway left field stands. The ball went about 365 feet when it landed. So it is now 4-2. Bruce Edwards, a second-string catcher and a right-hand batter, is being brought in from the Brooklyn bullpen. Snider is at the plate. Page deals over. Fastball for a called strike. At the outside on that one. The Yankees 4, the Dodgers 2. Page works. Over. Fastball for a call, second strike. Page, 2 outs to go and a 2-run margin. 4-2 ball game. Snider holding it, stick down by the end. Over the close stance. Outfield back into left on him. Pitch is swung on, fouled off. Nothing in 2. Ball back on the screen. A few spectators of the crowd of 32,788 started for the exit gates, but almost home run returned into their seats. Page takes the sign very coolly. Throws, curve swung and missed, strike 3, and Snider is struck out. So Page now is 1 out away. The Yankees 4, the Dodgers 2 in this 3rd game of the series. And just who the pitchers will be tomorrow? Well, probably Eddie Lopat. He's been figured to start most any time. Might start for the Yankees. And just who manager Shotton would come up with, you don't know. Of course, the outcome of this game makes a great deal of difference. Each side of the camp. Campanella, right-hand hitter, swings, fouls the ball back. Nothing in 1. 2 gone, last of the 9th. Edwards waiting on deck. He's to hit for relief pitcher Banner in the event that Campanella can save him a bat. As it stands now, Edwards on deck is the tying run. Yankees 4-2. Campanella swings, fouls this one off. No balls, 2 strikes. Casey Stengel lets out an encouraging hoop and a holler as he steps to the front of the Yankee bench. Hollers out to Page. And we are beginning to get a little rain. It is starting to rain right now. First rain of the day. The skies are leaden overhead. As we pointed out to you, they have been ominous all afternoon. Page works. Campanella checks his swing on a low curveball, and it is ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the column that counts, the Yankees 4, the Dodgers 2. The Yankees, after 2 men were retired, let go in the 9th inning, and Johnny Myers and Joe Page. You can see the typesetters in the various newspaper composing rooms all over the country getting their names ready for the headlines. 1-2 pitch, swung on a high foul ball close to the first base stand and into the stand. So the ball game's still alive. The ball bounced 3 rows of seats back, hit on a piece of concrete walkway, and then bounced high up amidst some photographers suspended under the upper deck behind first base. 1-2. Well, you'd had the feeling with this ball game in its oneness that something would have to detonate it, explode it. And the Yankees did that in the ninth inning with 2 out. Now Page, trying to finish the ball game, nail it down. Works again, 1-2. Curve swung on. There's a high fly ball back into left field. Back goes Woodley. Way back, close to the stands. He can't get it. It's in there for a home run by Campanella. So Campanella belts one in the left field stands. It just goes in, and it's a 4-3 ball game. And listen to the crowd. Wow, this is getting to be a most unpredictable series. And here at Ebbets Field, where anything can and usually does happen, Casey Stengel goes out to the mound to talk to Joe Page. And Stengel is going to go with Page. He's going to stay with him. And Bruce, never has a club hit more than 2 home runs in 1 inning in the World Series. This is the 9th time that 2 home runs have been hit in 1 inning in a World Series ball game. The Yankees themselves have done it 5 times, so the Dodgers sort of took a leaf out of their book. 2 home runs here in the 9th. Edwards takes a curve. Couldn't check his swing in time, and it is strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes. Nothing in 2. Bruce stepping in. So Page is once again within 1 strike of his final out. And the crowd is still waiting. Everybody's standing. The Yankees 4, the Dodgers 3. So hold on. Page comes down. Edwards takes just outside for ball 1. 1-2. He may have been setting up something with that pitch. Fastball just wide. Because you never know what will happen in the ball game. Both bullpens remain active. Right-hander Reynolds, pitching hero of the first game, working for New York in the left field corner, and left-hander Joe Hatton for Brooklyn in the right field corner. Hatton throwing to the bullpen catcher Sam Nara. Okay, 1-2. Silvera, who was warming up Reynolds, stops to watch this Joe Page pitch. Page delivers. Edwards takes strike 3 called, and the ball game is over. Edwards unhappy about the decision. There was a high fastball at the shoulders on the outside. Passerella walking off the field. And that is the ball game. Edwards takes a called 3rd strike. And that's the 4th strikeout for Page, and it gives him the win. And the Yankees win the ball game 4-3. And Ralph Branca is the losing hurler, of course. So, we had a lot of excitement in the 9th inning, and we got some scoring in the 9th inning that we had not had at any other stage in the series. So the Yankees win this one and go up now 2-1, and coming up to the microphone, Mel Allen. Mel, see you got the record book, and you've been looking over things and adding them up. How's it now?
Well, we've had a total of 39 strikeouts in this World Series, and the 39th one, of course, ended the 3rd game of the World Series, and gave the Yankees a spine-tingling 4-3 victory, as a battling group of Brooklyn Dodgers refused to be counted out of it, even though they were down 4-1 the last of the 9th inning. And they blasted 2 balls into the seats to get right back into contention. And as a matter of fact, all the Dodger runs today were scored on balls that were hit all the way. Wee Reese and the 2 in the 9th inning, Luis Olmo and Roy Campanella. Joe Page, who was the key of the Yankee success this year from a pitching standpoint, and who pitched them into that pennant. If you want to look at it that way, last Saturday when he went 6 2/3 innings of 1-hit pitching in relief against the Boston Red Sox, who came on today in the 4th inning with 1 out, and thus went 5 2/3 innings today, and did not allow a hit until the 8th inning, and then gave up 2 in the 9th. So he pitched 1-hit ball until the 9th inning, and then gave up those 2, and they were 2 big ones. They were all the way. So Page got credit for the victory, and you must say, in the final analysis, These two clubs are still just as close as they can be. 3 ball games, all decided by 1 run. And if they have to be decided, that's just the minimum that they can be decided by. So that'll show you how close this situation is. And so as you attempt to pick the heroes of the day, Joe Page, who came very near not being a hero, with the Dodgers teeing off on him in the last of the ninth, comes through to win his second World Series game. He won 1 and lost 1 in the 1947 World Series. Joseph Francis Page, a 31-year-old left-hander from Springdale, Pennsylvania, born in Cherry Valley, came on to save the day for Tommy Byrne, off whom Wee Reese spanked that home run early in the game in the 4th inning to tie it up at 1-1 after the Yankees had taken a 1-run lead in the 3rd off Ralph Branca. Branca had walked Mapes to start the 3rd inning. Then after Coleman struck out, Tommy Byrne singled to send Mapes around to 3rd, and he scored on Rizzuto's fly ball to right field. Reese's homer off Byrne in the 4th inning tied it up. That was the first hit off Byrne, who had gone through the lineup without allowing a hit in the first 3 innings. And that proved to be Tommy Byrne's undoing when, after Miksis had lined solidly to center to DiMaggio for an out, Furillo singled to left, and then Byrne grew wild and walked Robinson and Hodges to load the bases with 1 out of the 4th inning. It looked as if the Dodgers were going to cash in, but that's when Page came in. And he got Olmo and Snider, got out of that jam, and was brilliant unto the 9th inning when Olmo and Campanella hit those homers. Offensively, it was Big Johnny Mize, who had reached Major League stardom, but who had never been able to participate in a World Series. And it was Mize who had pinch hit safely yesterday for the Yankees in a losing cause, who came on to the 9th inning after Ralph Branca, who had pitched beautiful baseball all the way, who had pitched a 2-hitter to the 9th inning, and who had gotten the first man out of the 9th, had walked Berra and had gotten DiMaggio. And with 2 down, Brown singled, and Woodling walked to load them up. And then it was that Big John stepped in and lined a single off the right field screen to score 2, and Coleman's single off relief pitcher Jack Bama sent the 3rd one in, and that proved to be the winning run. So it was a thrilling ball game all the way, with the totals: the Yankees 4 runs, 5 hits, no errors, 5 left on, and the Dodgers 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and 6 men left on. Joe Page, the winning pitcher. Ralph Branca, who went 8 2/3 innings, is the losing pitcher, his second World Series loss. Well, we're having a little more excitement. It's building day by day, and we still have a long way to go. Remember, we'll be back on the air again tomorrow at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time. But do remember that on Sunday, we will be on an hour later at 1:45 Eastern Standard Time. But tomorrow, 12:45. Tomorrow, we bring you the 4th game of the 1949 World Series from Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. Make a note that we'll be on the air at 12:45 Eastern Standard Time, the same as today. Until then, folks, smooth sailing, smooth shaving, and good afternoon from your host, the Gillette Safety Razor Company, Red Barber, and yours truly, Mel Allen.